I was a little bit tempted to open the show today with a British accent. No, I did not want to make anyone have to go through that one. It's Mix Up Day here for day 3 of SI24. Welcome to the B stream. No, I'm not Desatune, but yes, I am joined by Ace. How are you, mate?
I'm very good, thank you. I'm very excited to be sat here with you, to be honest. It's going to be a lot of fun today.
Hopefully it's going to be a lot of fun. We don't have any kind of maybe Aussie v British banter that usually goes on.
I'm sure it might crop up occasionally.
All right, well, I've got ourselves a big game today. I mean, well, a big bunch of games, if you will. Obviously, the B stream, A stream, they're both stacked. Let's be honest, as we go to the graphic here to kind of highlight where both streams are going to be at. Our focus is going to be firmly on this particular stream. Dplus and Wolves is where we begin. Then we go to my hometown boys in Bliss, taking on a team that's looked very good, taking their phase in SSG.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game for them, is that one. There's no two ways about it. The rest of the day, I will be back with your partner, with your usual duo. We'll be covering Fury and Scars with Guz, and then Falcons versus Sonics to round us out on Stream B. I think we've got some really interesting games today. We've had a lot of the big matchups, like the big teams against each other. Now it's those matches where you think they need to come and get a result here. You know, they need to sort of lay it down, but there's the potential for upsets there, and those are the days that I really love.
As you get to the middle point of any kind of tournament, and I guess for the group stage, these are the games that are going to really matter now, because we're starting to get a really solid idea as to where teams are at. You can see there on the A stream, like W7M Virtus Pro, probably maybe the biggest match of the day, I think, when you look at this particular graphic. But big matches across the board. You kind of mentioned that Fury Scars matchup, APAC v APAC. That's a big one later on today. We go to the Group B standings. So obviously a couple of games have already been played. We only saw Bliss play the one yesterday. Dplus2 have only kind of played the one. Wolves, Space Station, FaZe, they've all played a couple. And it's Wolves on top, surprisingly, Tim. Through the first couple of days, they've been able to knock off Space Station. They got rid of Bliss very comfortably in the end. And of course, FaZe, they had that bit of a drop against SSG.
So, of course, Wolves, they're one of my home region teams, and I've said this a couple of times, I'll say it again. They are a top team in terms of capability. We know they can deliver. We've seen them absolutely dominate seasons in EUL. And then they turn up and they've, historically had these problems at international and sort of delivering that same, that same sort of sharp edge, if you will. But they've really turned up so far, and I'm loving seeing it. This is much more, like the top end of Wolves that we've seen. Hopefully they're going to grow into it. They've had a little bit of trouble. We were talking about it on their attacks so far. Dplus, maybe an opportunity today for them to start working and improving that a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of teams, though, have probably struggled on their attacks so far throughout.
Yeah, it's been
SI.
tough.
It's really kind of been a common denominator across all of the teams. But for Dplus, it's been second worst. There's only been one team rated below them when it comes to attacking win rate, and that's actually NIP, where they whopping 13% attacking win rate. For Dplus, it's just 20%. And it's even worse news when you go and have a look at the defensive win rate. It's actually it's tournament worst for Dplus, so they don't really have that defense to fall back on. On the flip side, their opponents in Wolves are actually rated second highest with a whopping 79% defensive win rate. So they are going to be very difficult to break down for a team, obviously, that's already struggling with attack, now going up against a team that's rated the second best.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't surprise me, the numbers there for Wolves. I saw them on day one. I cast them 5 defensive rounds on Clubhouse, 5 defensive rounds on Cafe 6, actually, if you include the one that they picked up in overtime. So, yeah, they really have been doing really, really well on the defense. Like you say, with most teams here, the struggle has been on getting those attacking wins. And with Dplus having that low defensive win rate, you do feel for Wolves maybe it's just an opportunity to, come in and get a little bit of improvement there today. They've got to take that chance, though.
They do. Let's go to the map vetoes for this particular best of 3 series between Wolves and Dplus here. We head to Chalet, then followed by Clubhouse. If required, we would then go to Bank. But I do love these maps. Interestingly enough, Chalet and Clubhouse, the 2 most played maps at SI thus far.
Yeah, I mean, we don't usually always see our quote-unquote best maps through, I say that because I love Chalet and Clubhouse, but, quite often we'll see, a couple of sort of curveballs thrown in there and people are maybe keep it, they don't want to show their Clubhouse game till playoffs, but no, we've seen plenty of it and I'm absolutely loving it. We have got, honestly, if I could pick 3 maps to watch out of the pool at the minute, these would be in strong consideration. I won't say they're the only ones, but they'd certainly be up there.
It's interesting you say that. I'm a big lover of both of these. I mean, we're in agreement here. Chalet's my favorite map. I do love me some Clubhouse, but right now Clubhouse is the most defender-sided map at SI, 73%. For a lot of people, that's not necessarily entertaining gameplay when you're just kind of looking at defense, just, romp away. So 79 rounds played of Clubhouse, 75 rounds of Chalet. So pretty neck and neck when it comes to these maps played at SI. I'm curious to see how this is going to go. Obviously, Chalet picked by Dplus. They get to go into that first. Curious for them if they're going to be able to find some success here. Clubhouse, also a map that we've already kind of seen these teams play as well.
I love a bit of bank as a decider as well. It's, you know, it's one of those big open maps we've had, and I'm talking over the years of Siege, we've had some real deciders. You know, I'm thinking G2 EG on bank. You know, it's just one of those big grandstand maps for me is bank. So if you're going to play bank, get it in map 3, get it as a decider. Real showdown map for me is bank. Whether we'll see it today or not,
I don't know.
It's going to be a long road for Dplus, Kier. I think that's fair to say.
I'm APAC, Tim.
I know you're gonna back your boys.
I can't. I'm sorry. Statistically, Dplus right now, they're looking a little bit shambles. This is a good opportunity, though, I think, to maybe grasp a little bit of knowledge from Wolves. That's the way I would kind of treat it for them. This is not do or die for Dplus. Obviously, there's other matches that I think probably we all look ahead to. Dplus versus Bliss later on in the tournament. That might be the decider in terms of who gets grouped. But I think for Dplus, this is a really solid opportunity. You're the heavy underdog. Wolves are playing magnificently at the moment. Just learn. See what you can gain in terms of knowledge. Go into this with a bit of a free hit. 86% in favor of the Wolves as we head to Chalet. Should I not remind you, of course, yesterday, the dominance that we saw from Mowgli. 40 kills across 2 maps. One of those was on this very map.
Yeah, I mean, if they'd have gone to a map 3, Mowgli was potentially on for a kill record at that point. If it had gone the whole distance, but he just didn't get the time in the server to be able to do it. But, you know, we can't write Dplus off either. Let's remember, they've got Yas, they got Court, they got the Woogie Man. You know, we've got some serious gunners on there. And on their day, they're going to hurt you. So Wolves, they need to come in here. And something else I always say about tournament winning teams is you got to have that professionalism. And you can only beat the team in front of you. That's the only thing that you can do. But you've got to do it. So it's no good turning up thinking, we've got this one. This should be an easy day. You've got to turn up and you've got to play like it's the grand final. Every game needs to be won. Winning is a habit. So Wolves need to get the job done.
Yeah, very much in agreement there. And I love that sort of fact that you bring up, Tim, considering what we saw from Wolves yesterday. They did not take Bliss lightly. We saw it both inside of the server and even outside of the server. They looked absolutely locked in and they weren't making any kind of mistakes. They certainly didn't give Bliss any kind of a look in. And I thought Wolves looked absolutely clinical. Obviously, we've already seen what they were able to do against SSG as well. Tubrow does get bound out here by Dplus, Kier. I'm a little bit surprised by that on Chalet. I think there's only one site realistically. You might see those Zoto canisters in basement looking to block main breach, but other than that, I think it leaves quite a lot up available when you think about your Azamis, you think about your Solars, even a Fenrir, as Valkyrie does get banned out. I mean, that's just the nature of Siege right now with defensive operators. There's just too many. You can't ban them out, all out. So Dplus on the attack first. We spoke about it in the pre-show, Tim, of course. They are second last for attacking win rate. They get a bit of a free hit here. I'm curious to see how it goes. Kitchen and Dining to begin, which is the most defender-sided site on this map, 70%.
Real high stats for the defenders in that one. And, you know, as you say, really, the Tubrow Banya is an interesting one. Hard breach really not that big a deal on Chalet, apart from the basement. And no surprise to see immediately Solus and Fenrir both picked up. Those are the two that I was going to pick up and say, you know, who do you really sub in for that ban? You know, if you leave Tubrow up, I'd be taking Solus or Fenrir out. Azami, you know, useful on every map, but I think, I'm not going to say less so here on Chalet, but I think Solus and Fenrir will have such a big impact potentially on Chalet. So yeah, a little curious one there, but we'll see as we go whether Dplus get punished for that or not.
Watching Wolves yesterday, of course, I had the pleasure of casting them, and I thought Deadshot, he played a very important role in that Azami when you kind of think about certain sites, bar games, for example, being able to hold over towards that library side, mezzanine, chimney, and he can play that really well with the Azami. I think another key area is that piano room as well. We can get those keeper barriers out, plays kind of like the old deployable shield on the piano. So I think, again, those are going to be the 3 critical operators, as we probably also, again, need to touch on Mowgli. 40 kills yesterday, an absolute standout, but there are other negatives that can come with that, because it's a one-man show. Do we need to see the Wolves have other players pick up a little bit of the slack of the workload? And maybe this is the kind of game they could do so, and it looks like P4 might go for a little sneaky run out here. He's got maybe a bit of information.
Well, they've banned Nomad, so he knows that there's going to be an opportunity potentially. Yes, there's the, you know, possibility of a Claymore, but he's going to give that a little look before he goes out. And in all honesty, this door isn't really the biggest one for getting claymored. It tends to get forgotten a little bit, so there could be an opportunity. And looking towards Wolves players who can maybe provide a little bit more to support Mowgli, for example. You're looking at maybe your P4, your Bbu. We know they can put numbers up. He's certainly just waiting for that rappel sound. He's got the impact nade in hand. He know that he wants to go, but don't leave it too late, P4. Don't be too shy. Get out there and say hello. He's thinking about it. He knows he's on the drones. This has got to be your time. P4, come on, let's go.
Well, there you go.
Easy as that.
And that's actually Kit as well. A little bit of information there in terms of maybe the side that Dplus want to hit from on this solar side. Big from P4. Patience is a virtue. Didn't want to overplay the hand too quickly. Got all of the information. Made sure there were maybe others in place in good positions in case a trade was required. Damali now has to rotate over. Of course, the newest member for Dplus here coming over from La Vega. There's a lot of eyes and maybe thoughts as to how he's going to perform on this roster. Struggled a little bit in his SI debut. And P4, of course, now needs to get kind of flushed out. They do take the fight, but on the very acute angle, hits the head of Woogieman, and it's a perfect start for Wolves. The trade does come through from Damali, though.
Damage is done. P4 doesn't mind that at all. He's taken 2 down in basement. Wasted 2 minutes as well. Dplus Kia are backs to the wall now. They've got so little time left to get this job done, and P4 has had an absolutely storming start. One of the players that I picked up that Wolves might just be looking to for that little bit extra. Bbu taking a ton of damage in there. We've got about 40 seconds left to go. Deadshot still in control of Solarium. Wolves, they're looking pretty comfortable here. They've still got the top floor. Dplus just don't have the map control to go into sight.
I think anytime you bring an operator like Sens, that's a big part of your win condition. The ROUs, you bring him for a reason in terms of how you want to get these plants down. So as soon as you lose Coded, you lose a big part of your win condition. Dplus already the slowest team when it comes to entries. Minute and a half over, in fact. 136 so far at SI. Slow pace is unfortunately their downfall, punished by the fact that P4 was able to then double down into that. 2 versus 3. Yes, got a couple of kills back. Bbu goes down on the Warden, down to just Soldier, but he just goes down pretty comfortably in the hallway, courtesy of Mowgli. That's 1 for him, 39 to go to match yesterday. For the Wolves, though, a dream opening start. Nice and clinical from them. They do look like they're taking this seriously. Dplus are going to have to be a lot better, a lot sharper.
Yeah, no kidding. Dplus just never really got themselves established in the round. Obviously, P4 really hit them for 6 to kick off. Why have I made a cricket reference? I was trying to avoid the Ashes. I was trying to avoid it, but there we go. Yeah, you know, he was just did so much damage at the beginning of the round. It's 2 minutes before they've got him killed. Dplus, they've got to recognise that. The drones, it's difficult against a Solus, but you've got to get the drones in. Even if they shoot them out, you know that they're there, and that's the point. They didn't know that P4 was there. They didn't know that he was poised for the run out, and then they just pushed on into him afterwards, and it was just such a weak attempt really at thinking, let's go and see if we can kill this Solus. For me, you got to get him trapped. Guarantee it. You know, you've got 2 pushing, both from big garage door. Get 1 round to trench. He can't come out of big garage. You've got him cut off at the bottom of West Main stairs, then push him from the other side. You know you've got him pinched. Get him dealt with quickly. And Dplus, they just need to be thinking about that rather than having all 3 stacked up on Solarium side and feeding Wolves.
Yeah, obviously they had a lot of that focus towards that top side vertical. Didn't so much worry about the south side. We head to Bar Games though, second round, and when it comes to Chalet, at the very least, Bar Games and also Master and Office are a little bit more even around that 57-58% mark defensively for the win rates. It is Damali that also gets a very quick opening kill onto Deadshot. I don't know if that was because Deadshot got overzealous on the Warden for a jump out, or Damali just hit a nice little spawn peek coming in from the spawn. Either way, that is the kind of start that Dplus Kia absolutely need. They need the numbers advantage. They need to be fast, get entry kills, get some map control. That will certainly help them and alleviate the pressure from Wolves, especially on a site like Bar Games, where you might now, as the 4 members, just kind of proceed back over the light. They know they double down. P4 with a jump out. Damali gets a 2nd kill. The aggression from Wolves punished a little bit here by Dplus.
Sorry to do it, P4, but I think it's a little bit windy outside Chalet today. There were shots going everywhere there. He just didn't take his opportunity. I think it was one of them, you get out there, you think, yeah, this is it, I can level it up. And maybe the excitement just got him a little bit carried away. Great start for Dplus so far. They're a minute in. This is a complete flip reverse of round 1. A minute in, they've got 2 down. Deadshot and P4 are off the board. Damali's had a great start, taking actually very little damage there along the way as well. So Dplus, they need to now get themselves inside of the map. They've still got this top floor to deal with. Mowgli needs to be moved. They have to do it, as well as the player on mezzanine, Bbu as well. you look at it and think maybe there's an opportunity with only one on site. They could sort of push their way in there, but that vertical is going to hurt them. The hatch is open. They've got the angles. They need to get these two shifted. For me, focus on Bibu, but they've nobody over there at the minute to impact on him, and that's the problem. If they let them have the top floor for too long, Wolves might still punish them.
Yeah, I think Soldier's key here on the cap down. Need to get those incendiaries to try and displace both Bibu and Mowgli, get them out of those positions. He's over towards that library side. Shinka just outside of Barstock. Soldier, there's the focus here. He's just been a little bit stagnant though. You're the Capitao. You need to try and displace these players. Look at Mowgli. He doubles down. He's pushed right back into library deep inside. So really Dplus, but coded. He's come straight in through bar. I don't think Shinka was aware of this. The backside was a little bit open. Mowgli though with a quick drop. And then the kill through big window, but the trades come through for Dplus Kia. Those earlier kills courtesy of Damali. That means that they had the numbers for the later round team. They were able to overload the site. And it's Dplus Kia that have got a very early attacking round here on Chalet.
Yeah, it's a good round for them. Great start. I was, as I said in the round, a little bit concerned that they were letting Bibu and Mowgli sort of keep hold. There was no real pressure onto the top floor, but it didn't matter. Like you say, they stacked the site with numbers. They knew exactly what they wanted to do, and they got the kills that they needed. Courted's one of those players. He's always just going to be able to walk inside and get a couple of kills and open things up. So they did the damage they needed to, and whether it was top floor, whether it was site, they got the job done, and that's what's important for Dplus. But yeah, Wolves, I think, going to be kicking themselves for the start of that round a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, I would agree. I mean, we didn't quite get to see the POV of Deadshot. I don't know if that was just a simple spawn peek or a run out or what it was. Either way, Damali punishes it, and you kind of mentioned it in the pre-show, and I'm glad you were able to, because at these kind of tournaments, it's very easy to clown on some of these, maybe, quote, lesser teams, if you will, but Dplus Kia is still a very formidable team. They are still very, very good players, and if you make mistakes, they're more than capable of punishing that. We saw that with the whiff from P4. Damali then turns around, double headshot, he's dead, and that opened up the round for Dplus Kia. Wolves need to be locked in. I think they're certainly capable of being able to, bounce back from that last round, but you need to temper expectations. You can't just go, okay, we were aggressive that last round, let's switch it up and be super passive. I'm not saying double down, Tim, but I think for the Wolves, don't change up too much just because of one round.
Yeah, I think, play with your confidence. Go out there. That's your game plan, like you said. You can't have this like rubber band effect, where something is wrong, so boof, you ping and you rubber band off to the, the extreme opposite of it just because it hasn't worked one time. I think, yes, keep the pressure on Dplus, keep up in their faces, fight them at the boundaries, don't let them in. Ultimately, you just got to hit your shots. If P4 goes out of that window and gets the kill onto Damali, it's 4 versus 4. You've still got P4 alive. You're probably looking at a very different round. So, yeah, I think Wolves just write that one off. Bibu said it in his half-time show the other day. How do you improve in Siege? You reset every round. It's a different round, and I'm sure that's what Wolves will do.
Exactly. Don't carry the previous round into the next one, either for good reasons or bad. We do go to bar games, though, ironically, for the second time in a row, so there is a little bit of that carry effect from the Wolves. They will look to change it up a little bit, though. No real super aggressive plays. We haven't seen Deadshot obviously lose his life. P4 and Fenrir, he will obviously play a bit more of that anchor role. Yeah, straight through the front.
He's going to get away with this.
And I think he will indeed get away with this one. Oh. There goes the F-Dot mine straight in, though, and bye-bye, Bandit, Bibu dead. The F-Dot mine completely ignored by Yas. Nice little entry, but the trade on the drop from P4 evens it back up to 4 versus 4.
And that's what Wolves need. That's what they failed to do last time around. Yes, it was a few missed shots, P4. This time getting the trade. Bibu obviously just needing to react a little bit quicker in that situation when the F-Nat is there. The push into sight is not quite successful. Shinka knows there's another. Can he get the kill? He hits the deck, and he's going to find his man. Kills raining elsewhere, and Wolves, they managed to lock down round 3.
I'm just a bit perplexed in that moment. It's a 2-on-1 trying to push into Barstock, and they just cannot deal with Shinka. He goes prone, he's up and down, he's moving around, he's difficult to kill, he's on the move. And a little bit disappointing there from Dplus Kia because they started to get a bit of that site control but couldn't deal with one pesky player inside of Barstock. And it all started off, though, with a really nice little lurk entry in from Yas through front door, in towards Bart, through the hallway. Trades came through, though, this time around for Wolves. They were really well positioned. And that's the thing as well for Dplus. You want to go fast, try and pick up the pace a little bit, go for these entry plays. But by doing that, you're not displacing the defense. They're already in the positions they want to be in to get these trades. They win Bart games. There's the reprieve from round 2. Now we go to the basement.
Yeah, I mean, Dplus, I'm looking at that. You've got 2 players pushing the same door onto Shinka in a room that's got 2 doors. if you can guarantee it's that situation again. It's exactly like we saw in round 1. With P4 down in Big Garage, you've got a situation where you can push from opposite sides and guarantee yourself the kill. There's no way Shinka can fight both, but they're just feeding into them a little bit sometimes and giving them that opportunity to pick up multiple kills. So Dplus, they just need to sort of try and avoid holding hands too much, going through a doorway, get yourself separated, work as a team, and come in and leave them in sort of no-win situations. But overall, I think Wolves looking good in the 2 rounds that they've won so far.
The positives, though, for me, Dplus Kia, is that when you kind of, again, look at the statistics coming into this game. Slowest team on entry, they had the worst attacking win rate, or second worst, I should say. But still, what we're seeing here on Chalet, albeit their map pick, is a lot faster pace. We saw that with the entry there on the Nook through front door, and also the fact they've already won an attacking ground kind of alleviates that little bit of pressure. Still, long way to go. They need a little bit more, but good signs at least for Dplus Kia, and even better sign for Wolves that they're pretty much dealing with it as well. Yeah,
I think Dplus have certainly got something to build on. They're having a little bit of joy with the things they try, and I'm thinking Yas walking in with the knock, going through the FNAT, finding the entry. It was great. They're having those great little bits of play. They just need to build on them through the rest of the round and push the advantage. You're going in 2v1, you've got the advantage, use it. So we're down to the basement. We're going to have that full map hold. Mowgli is going to be down but not out at the minute. There might be an opportunity to collect him. Yes, the Azami will pick him up, but the damage is done as Soldier finds them both out. Deadshot is there for the trade, but they've had to lose 2 bodies along the way. One of them the Azami, and that should now allow Dplus Kia to get this map flushed out and start thinking about sides.
Incredible job done from Dplus Kia, playing these balconies, trying to just overload the top floor, knowing Wolves playing pretty heavily into this roam game despite basement site. Deadshot now having to roam back around through kitchen. He's just not sure really where's dangerous. In fact, it's from Trophy Stairs. Yas with a kill on to Deadshot. They've been pretty much dismantled, Tim, defensively, the Wolves. Playing a pretty conventional roam game, basement Chalet, but Dplus have read right into it. They've clearly scouted out. They've been able to just overload positions, and now in a 4 versus 2, they've got themselves an opportunity to get a second attacking round.
This is that sort of position again that I was talking about. They can have Shinka cut off there. Doesn't matter. A Woogie man comes in, manages to find his kill. It's all up to P4 now in a 1v4. A couple of them low health on the side of Dplus, so it might just give P4 an opportunity to pick up a couple of cheap kills and maybe just level the numbers a little bit more. But I like this from Dplus. They've recognised 40 seconds on the clock. The drones are going in. They're not rushing it. They're not just running in there. They're not going to give them that opportunity. Now what I want to see, split your forces, force him in to a no-win situation and get this round closed out.
Yeah, don't give him any kind of opportunity because P4 does still have a Nitro Cell thrown out. Misses the mark, doesn't get anything from it. Got to remember as well, Coded, Woogieman both still low. 20 seconds left. There's one from P4. Could he make a bit of a moment here at SI24? 13 seconds and Coded says absolutely no way. Dplus get their second attacking round of the half and signs early on that there is life in this team. A team that many wanted to probably write off coming into day 3, but they're still here to play and Wolves have to take them seriously.
Absolutely. I mean, Soldier just completely opened that round up, didn't he? Just that double kill onto Bibu and Mowgli. Just recognised Mowgli got down. Bibu was picking him up. Soldier's quick thinking. There's an opportunity there. Gets both of them. And it just completely broke the back of that roam. And this is the problem. When you're defending down in basement, if you're going to go for that full map hold, you got to burn at least a minute and a half around that top and mid floor before you collapsing back to site. And you've got to get numbers back to site as well. Losing 2 so early in the round was really the signal for Wolves that they weren't going to pick that one up.
Now, I should say this is Wolves' tactical timeout as it just gets fixed there on the graphic, not Dplus. And yeah, admittedly so, I think a really well-timed timeout here from the Wolves. It's nice and early. It's 2-2. You don't want to leave it until it's too late. Clearly, some issues going on because to drop these 2 attacking rounds early on, again, the way that we've seen SI24 so far, it's like well over 60% defensive win rate. So for Dplus Kia, they've already got the 2 attacking rounds that I think that you would be seeking as teams right now at this tournament, and doing so in style in that previous round of basement as well. The fact that it was a 4 versus 1 to close out and they were largely dominant. Wolves don't look as confident right now through those player cameras, and so clearly understanding that Dplus Kia are not going to be a pushover team. They're not going to be the kind of team you can just waltz in half asleep. We didn't have much breakfast. No, they need to be switched on.
Absolutely. Like I said, the players on the side of Dplus Kia, yes, the results for them as a team have been a little bit shaky over the last couple of years now, unfortunately. You know, I was one of the heralds in 2021 screaming about Dplus and how good they were, and then they hit the semi-final in Sweden and it looked like it was just on the up and up for them, but they have had the come down afterwards as well. But you look at the players, they've so much experience across them. You know, I mentioned the bottom three, Woogieman, Kota, Jas, but you've got Soldier, Damali as well. Damali's come in and had a real, you know, great effect so far at this tournament. He's doing well today, and Wolves, yep, they need to make sure that they're respecting that, and they need to go out there and win their gunfights.
Yeah, I think this is very interesting, though. 2 rounds to go in this half. It's a 2-2 scoreline, really difficult to predict. I think the way this is going to go, with some really good signs from Dplus Kia and being able to get a couple of these opening kills from that, get some map control. For Wolves, what do they do now? Do they maybe bring it back a little bit? They've just had that tactical timeout, Tim. So clearly, what have they discussed as a team going into the last 2 rounds of this first half? Do they want to bring it back a little bit, focus on defense first, rather than that aggressive play? You got to remember, coming into this game, this is the team rated the 2nd highest in terms of defensive win rate at 79%. If we continue in this direction, they will not have the 2nd highest defensive win rate anymore.
Dplus are learning lessons here. Round 1 was the round where P4 was able to really hurt them from Big Garage. Woogieman's going in there. He's got drones. He's being careful. He's making sure that there's no attempt to have that run out, to have that impact from down on the bottom floor. They need Dplus Kia this time. They've got the manpower. Wolves haven't been able to rely on that great double kill start that they had in round 1. So now Dplus need to show us how they can get that top floor control. They're sort of positioned in trophy. I'm wondering if there's a thought towards getting onto site, but they need to make sure they're clearing top floor as well, because otherwise they could get hurt from the vertical.
Yeah, a bit of a horizontal push here. Straight through trophy, open up breach, and so far successfully. No response either from the Wolves. Bibu just sitting over towards Dining Kitchen opened up. Shinka in there as well. So this is an interesting little moment here. Minute 18 seconds. The one issue for Dplus has been sort of their time of their attacks. They're quite a slow paced team, but at least getting that breach opened up. Now can they get a little bit more of that vert control? Not too sure if they've been able to do much of that.
This is it. Wolves are mostly on site, but by not having and by not taking that top floor, by not having that vertical control, Wolves are able to just sit still. They're just able to sit still and watch trophy and wait for those pushers to come in. So it's all going to come down to having to win those gunfights, you know, rather than getting that vertical, displacing Wolves a little bit, forcing them off those angles. At the minute, Dplus haven't really impacted on what Wolves want to do.
One thing they've done, though, sent Woogie down below. He's been able to scout out any potential roamers. A couple of red pings going out to information there, but it's a Nitrocell from P4. Plant going down from Coated. Nitrocell again. Does it hit the mark? Indeed, it does. Boom, right on top of Coted's head from Shinka. Gives Wolves the advantage, and that's Kit on the floor.
20 seconds left to go, and they're going to have to find kills here, Dplus. There's no two ways about it. They're not just going to be able to walk into sight and take this, and this is what I was talking about. Bibu able to just sit on that angle and find the kill. They're trying to recover the diffuser, but there's too many bodies dropping for Dplus. They've made a good shout at it though. Soldier gets in, he gets a kill, he gets himself a little bit of space. Deadshot, he's racing back. Does he find his man? He knows where he is. It's as simple as 2 impact nades. Doesn't have to put himself in danger. Gets the round mopped up. Maybe a little bit closer than Wolves would have liked there. Dplus did do a good job of brute forcing their way in at the end, but they always left themselves in that situation where Wolves were just not disrupted at all.
How often do we see Kitchen and Dining where it's that horizontal take with that focus towards trophy, opening up Kitchen, a bit of a lurk down below, then push up West Main? There was very little actual vertical play from either of the two teams, either defensively or offensively. So not the more conventional round, if you will. In saying that, 70% defensive win rate means that for Wolves, probably a little bit more conventional for them to win that round. But like you said, Tim, very close, a little scrappy towards the end. The fact it came down to a 1v1, the plant was the right choice, the only choice with so little time remaining and Deadshot not being close by. We head to Bar Games, though, for the final round of this first half, and Dplus Kia, they are right up into this game. They've got every chance of maybe causing a boil over to start here for day 3. They've just got to keep that confidence level high and understand that they are right in this game.
Yeah, I mean, for me, looking at that, I just sort of wish Dplus had taken what was given to them. and that was top floor. Like you said, Wolves were just completely set up. You take top floor, force them out of the positions. A lot of the kills came from that half wall. They came from the dining table. They came from those positions that Wolves had set themselves up into. But we'll see if that's something that maybe Dplus Kia pick up on coming into this next round. It's going to be the final defence for Wolves. 3-2 it is on the board. Wolves are going to want that 4-2 half. As we've said, they've struggled on attack a little bit, so they need to give themselves all the opportunity they can coming out of this first half, and it's going to be Bar and Gaming.
Last time we saw Bar Games was that sort of front door push, lurk in with the Nook. It was successful. BB got caught off guard. He went down. But ultimately, it was still a round one by Wolves. And so far, and I haven't touched on it since the beginning of this game, but it hasn't been the Mowgli show. That's good signs for Wolves. As much as we like to see records broken and players go absolutely supernova, Mowgli's only had the 3 kills. He had 18 and 22 respectively in the 2 matches yesterday against Team Bliss. So that means there's other members of Wolves that are standing up, really getting involved, and it's not just the one-man show.
Just looking at Dplus here to see whether they're pushing in towards that top floor. I keep talking about vertical control, and vertical play is just not something that Dplus have chosen to utilise so far. So many of the pushes just come in laterally across the same floor. It hasn't really bitten them too much, but you just know that the time is coming that it will do. They've got 3 players once again. Deadshot, Mowgli are up on the top floor. Bibu was in support, but he's moved downstairs now. But P4 is just, you can't see him on your screen at the minute. He's on a little, they've picked him up on the draw, and he's just on a little bit of a lurk over on the far side. Is P4 over by Master Bedroom, and that could be really damaging to somebody like Damali.
I don't think he got picked up. I think that was Mowgli on the Azami.
You're right, it was Mowgli.
So P4 hasn't been picked up. He's just lurking through piano right now, but from my point of view, he can't really see anyone until outside of the balcony.
That's
it's
brilliant.
Mowgli, though, that does get the kill onto Damali with a bit of a pinch from the lurking P4 as well. They combine. 60 seconds remaining. Wolves with the advantage. They've still got key areas of control with under 60 seconds left. Still full library, full mezzanine. Wolves are absolutely sitting pretty. They've got the shields up as well. Dplus just can't get into the building.
Dplus definitely need to up the drone in there, make sure that they're aware of just exactly where everybody is, that everybody is accounted for. Woogie Man trying to apply some pressure towards top blue stairs, but again, you just feel like they're not sure about how to get in, but Mowgli just leaves himself a little bit exposed there. Yas is able to walk in and get 1, get 2,
get 3.
And that is a problem. Yas is now dominating from above, and Dplus have got that vertical presence, but has it taken them too long, Xenox?
Yeah, only 15 seconds left. Well spotted. Not a lot of time here for Dplus Kia. It is Coated that has the diffuser in hand. Gas to push through Bar. Knowing there's one inside of Bar stock means there's only one that's unknown, and that's P4, the lurking Fenrir, making his way back to site. Shinka from Bar stock gets the kill onto Soldier, and a second to follow. Tap, 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 and it's as easy as that for Wolves to close out the first half. Despite a little bit of remonstration from Dplus, they get thwarted. Wolves get the round, and they take a buffer heading into the second half.
Yeah, I think Wolves just gave a little bit too much to Dplus there. They got a great start. They were 5 versus 4, and then Mowgli just leaves his leg hanging out of the side of the shield. You've got to be aware of those limbs and exactly what you're showing off and what you're not. Yas able to get in and get a great double kill, and then a third looking down through the vertical. Dplus had that opportunity, but I think ultimately it came down to time. 15 seconds left on the clock by the time they were in a position to get in. Quarter just had to go, try and get that diffuser down, and it was just a little bit too much. They couldn't control the site as much as they needed to. They couldn't have the cover in place, and Wolves were able to take advantage of that. But if Dplus had moved a little bit quicker in the beginning parts of the round, you look at that and think that's one they probably could have won.
It goes back to that statistic of minute and 36 seconds in terms of time to entry, the slowest so far at SI24 for Dplus. If you had say just added 30 seconds, an extra 30 seconds to that round, I think they actually probably win it. Instead, they got to rush, they got to start to push, they can't quite get the information. Shinka and Barstock can't get flushed out, so he's able to get involved. They couldn't actually get that position under lock and key. Dplus though go to defense, and I gotta say, coming into this game, if you had told me, Tim, that Dplus are gonna get 2 attacking rounds, I'd say, okay, that's not too bad, that's not too shabby.
Yeah, I think that's fine for them. You know, the Wolves have now got to show, as I said, coming in, take the opportunity to build your attack. That's where they've struggled overall. For defence, not too bad on Chalet, and they've now got to come and show that they can, you know, do what Dplus Kia didn't really. I want to see a little bit more sort of speed, a little bit more time being used on that clock to get in and give yourself a good opportunity to execute. We had 2 attempts for the diffuser to go down from Dplus. They weren't able to do it successfully either time, and it was just because they didn't have sufficient set up there. They hadn't moved Wolves enough, and they didn't have enough time to get it done. But yes, he's going to be up in Solarium, and he's going to be at the sort of the brunt of this push, really, because that's where Wolves are focusing right now.
And again, a reminder, Dplus, the worst rated defensive team at SI so far, 33%. So eyes on them to see if they can improve those numbers here into the second half. On to the Wolves, though. Again, it hasn't been the Mowgli show. We've seen some really good things from P4. Shinka had some really good defensive holds as well, and Deadshot getting involved just outside of Trophy. 2 spotted, maybe 1 goes down indeed from Shinka, but he went for the vault, and Woogieman was there to punish. Regardless, though, Wolves have made swift entry with 1:40 left. They've got themselves good position. They're getting all of the kills, and only Woogieman remains inside a Trophy, pushes the stairs. He'll get his second kill for the round on the Solars, but it's a 1 versus 3. It's very difficult to imagine that he's going to be able to clutch up against P4, Deadshot, and Bibu.
He's definitely going to stick himself underneath on the Solis. He's not going to see this going down. He's watching the hatch. Oh, the opportunity is missed, Woogie, man. He's got 2 impact nades in hand. It was right above his head. He had every chance of stopping that plant going down, but P4 manages to stick it. 1 versus 3. Bibu shuts him down. It was always a big ask for Woogie, man, but he maybe just had a little bit of a better opportunity than he realised there.
The stark contrast in terms of night and day when it comes to these 2 teams in terms of attacking. Wolves just rapid straight in, site control, getting entry kills, and they do so with a lot of time on the clock as well. That's the kind of round, though, where I think a timeout is necessary, and one that has been taken by Dplus Kia. It's a 5-2 lead now for Wolves as they get themselves a 3-round buffer. They've now won 4 of the last 5 rounds after a little bit of a start from Dplus. It's Wolves that are looking very clinical and clean. And again, yesterday was the Mowgli show. Today, it's been a very even spread of kills. P4 with 6, really high impact. Deadshot with 7. He got 3 in that round. Mowgli 5, Shinka with 6, and Bibu as well having some good moments as well with 3 kills to his name. So really solid team performance right now from Wolves for what's been 3 really nice days at SI24.
It has. It's been a fantastic start for them. I'm sure that the French fans are going to be very, very happy watching this team. It's a little bit funny. We look at the scoreline and I feel like, you know, I've been critical of Wolves a couple of times, and Dplus feel like they've had those opportunities along the way. But all of a sudden, it's kind of 5-2 and Wolves are in the driving seat and looking like they're just going to clean through this. And I look at this now and think, would 7-2 surprise me? It wouldn't really, to be honest, with the way Wolves took that attacking round. It wouldn't surprise me at all. And this is an interesting site choice for me now for Dplus Kia for this next round. They've just had the tactical timeout, and you're going to see when the highlights finish that they're coming back into basement, where Wolves have just come in so aggressively. They've seen a little bit of space. They've gone in and taken it. They've got the kills along with it. This, for me, is a risky site for them to go to because they're probably going to try to hold on to the entire map. But what that means is they're going to be spread even thinner than they were in that last round, and Wolves are going to have even more chance to spot that space, even more chance to get in there aggressively. So I think Dplus need to be very, very careful here, because where they have players on the top floor, maybe on their own, I think they're going to find themselves very quickly pushed by 2 or 3 Wolves.
Attacker repick, Thatcher and Thermite brought to the table, I imagine, to open up main breach in towards Snow, and then after that they can rotate off, go for that roam clear up above, as we would typically expect to see. Straight away over towards, of course, main breach. No 2-brow in play means this will be extremely comfortable and easy to open up, unless Soldier can hit the trick. He cannot. Gave up on that one immediately, and that is a rapid breach opened up. 2.5 minutes. Drone goes in, get a bit of information. I don't expect players to follow this, though. I think you just open it up, puts pressure on the defense, and then they rotate up above.
Yeah, it's just phantom pressure. It just means that they have to be aware of that angle, like you say. At the minute, Shinka and P4 have stayed on that breach, so it may well be that they look to push in through there, but I would like to see a little bit of attention to the rear side from Wolves as well. I agree. I think it's one of those sites, if you let everybody just train guns on main breach, because that's where it's been opened up, you're asking for a little bit of trouble. I think open rear side up as well and give them more to think about, and I tell you what, they're going to wish that they had. P4 and Bibu have both just died together. That's going to put Diffuser down cold on the ground as well, and that is a great start to the round. But Shinka, he's inside. He actually has Diffuser in hand. He's managed to collect it. He's going to take a lot of damage through that drone hole, but have Wolves got something here?
I think they might. I think this is a winnable round for both of these two teams, to be completely honest. I like this.
Plant is going down. Shinka's going to make sure that he sticks this. I think the opportunity is there. It will be. And all of a sudden, Dplus, they're on the retake. They're trying to get themselves back into sight, and this is going to be a big ask.
2 versus 2 now remaining. Both players still up here as that plant has gone down. Woogieman low makes the lurk in towards Wine. Player going up 5 plays stairs though. Up close, angle checked by Woogieman. Now gives the advantage, and the Kiva barriers can go out to play protective. Coated onto the plant, but they don't know exactly where Deadshot is. Deadshot goes for a re-angle out towards Breach. Deadshot double shot. Clean as you like, and a dagger into the hearts of Dplus Kia.
What a wild round. I think I need to watch that one back after we finish today. We have the 2 opening kills for Dplus Kia. It's 3v5, but as all of a sudden Shinka's stood in the middle of sight with Diffuser, gets a couple of kills, manages to chuck it down on the ground, and then it comes down to Deadshot to pick up a double at the end. I don't think anybody really knew what was going on there, but again, Wolves are going to be happy. They've been struggling on the attack a little bit, coming away with a scrappy round like that. Those are the rounds you got to win, and Wolves really did go in and win it.
Clearly you could see what was trying to be done there for the 2 members of Dplus Kia. Play off the keeper barriers, play in front of the planter. They weren't quite sure where Deadshot was going to come from. He originally went up 5 play stairs, then bolts out, then gets himself in towards main bridge, gets a really nice acute angle, gets the double kill, and with that, Wolves get themselves 4 map points, as this is the opening map of this best of 3. Of course, this is also the map pick of Dplus Kia. Like you said before, Tim, could easily see this blowing out to 7-2, and it looks, unfortunately, as that might be the case. Dplus here now firmly on the ropes. Can they at least improve some of their statistics, get a couple of rounds here, take some good form maybe heading into Clubhouse? Admittedly, though, Chalet is looking like it's going to be Wolves, provided they can just get the job done. We head over to Kitchen and Dining.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, coming in, it's Chalet's a good map for Wolves. We expect them to have a good performance here. Is a little bit of a surprise, Dplus picking it. I'm sure it's a good map for them as well. But, you know, Wolves are certainly no slouches when it comes to Chalet, and then they're going to be moving into Clubhouse, which has been their choice. So you really do think it is going to be a tough day at the office now for Dplus Kia.
Yeah, very difficult from here. Can't turn your attention to Clubhouse just yet, though. Still 4 rounds to be played. We've all seen comebacks plenty of times before. Wolves, though, have been very quick in their attacks, in their entry, and that has been, I think, a big pivotal reason why Dplus have struggled. They can't get their feet set at all. They're moving around. Wolves are just constantly keeping them on their toes. Drone game is quick. Yeah, a couple have been shot out. The shock drone's here from Mowgli. Pretty good. Gets rid of a couple of defaults. Yas at least keeps a bit of control of Library Stairs.
Yeah, and I think for good or bad, Wolves have been decisive, and that's one thing I've really enjoyed about their game today. And the reason I say for good or bad, in that last round we saw, you know, P4 and Bibu dying as they decided to push into sight. Shinka survived it, and it all worked out fine. You know, but I'd rather see a decision made and teams go and lose than just sit there for 2.5 minutes, do nothing, and then try to do something in the last 10 seconds and lose. I'd rather see that decisiveness, that we think we've got a gap here, let's go for it. Maybe it doesn't work out, maybe it does, but I love that from Wolves. They've been really aggressive on the attack, really happy to go in and take those chances when they think that they see them. They just need one more round now, and you've got to say you think it will come at some point. Dplus Kia are going to need 4 in a row if they want to get themselves anywhere near a sniff of overtime here.
No real vertical presence for Dplus. Kia Yash still around Library Stairs, could make his way up, play that flank late game. Would love to see him maybe go for that and catch Wolves off guard. Straight in, P4 trying to get some pressure. Coded coming up West Main. Oh, but he gets shut down immediately by Bibu. Trade does eventually come through by Woogieman. Yash still running around. He can't get involved just yet. They might need him sooner rather than later. In a 2 versus 4, Wolves looking to make quick work of Dplus Kia.
Yeah, you feel like this is probably the beginning of the end now. Bibu is getting that diffuser down. Damali manages to get one, but again, no real vertical presence from Dplus in a position where they can impact on that. Damali was trying to retake the vertical, but Deadshot, he's alive, he's alert to the danger, and he shuts his man down, and that leaves us now 1 versus 3. Yas does find the one above. Important kill if he wants to be able to get onto site. 1v2 though, and he's got Bibu and Shinka to deal with.
And he still has to drop down. down as well. 20 seconds, a little bit of time, but not a lot. Has to get moving, tries to get an angle from above. Can't clear out any of those positions. One last impact grenade available, but again, time. It's the essence. A lot of it now being run out into red time. And for Yas and Dplus here, out of time. That's going to be a good half coming out from the chat. A little too slow to get involved from the souls of Yas. It's Wolves taking Chalet 7-2 against Dplus Kia.
Great performance from Wolves there overall. There was a few rounds in that first half where you look at it and you think maybe Dplus, you know, if they'd been a little bit quicker, they'd have had a few more opportunities than they did. But Wolves, as I say, you play the team in front of you. They've done that fantastically well. Really good on the attack. You know, sharp, get in there, see those opportunities and willing to make that decision, make that call and go for it. So Wolves looking pretty comfortable in the 7-2.
Yeah, they certainly were. Very impressed again by Wolves. So far, one of the more impressive teams this tournament. And again, like you keep saying, you kind of just have to play the teams in front of you. In saying that, Dplus started really well, team. Those first couple of rounds. They did. Remember, it was 2-2. They got 2 attacking rounds. So when you think about, oh, it's their opponent, and who are Wolves playing? Oh, it's just Dplus. Well, Dplus started really well. They certainly came to play in this game. Wolves just kind of brushed them aside, though. They just went up a different level and said, you can't catch us. You can't meet us at this level. And clearly, you saw that by the end of the game. 7-2 result for Wolves as they take the map pick as well of Dplus kill.
Yeah, and again, I think, you know, teams looking on and seeing that performance from Wolves, you know, are going to be thinking, you know, we're not too keen to play these. Wolves have got a really good sort of setup now. They don't play FaZe till the last day. They're almost certainly going to be qualified by then if they're not already. Yes. So, you know, then the FaZe game is just for seeding. They can use it to, you know, just again keep that confidence high. I think Wolves are in a great position right now.
Unfortunately, a break is required. Probably more so, fortunately, though, for Dplus Kia, for the Wolves, looking to just obviously regenerate and get themselves back into the servers where they've been dominating as of late. Clubhouse to come after the break.
A hell of a lot easier. You know, at least with the side angle, sees the shield going down, but can do nothing to stop it at this point. No C4 in back pocket, and the shots do come on through. Balance things out at 5-5. The only thing I'm now thinking about, the classic Apex storyline. Close, but just never quite over the finish line. You guys had it. I feel really sorry for you. The Bliss game that you guys had, I think it was on day 2. It was yesterday, right? Yep. So close, just not quite enough to get over the finish line.
Yeah, and again, it links back to your point before where FearX arguably at this point should have already won the map. They had 2 very favorable rounds that they didn't close out. So we'll see if that comes back ultimately to bite.
I've got to ask, how good is your Mancunian accent? Because when we get to 12 rounds, you know what you've got to say. I want you back.
I was practicing it. I was staring at my bathroom mirror this morning and really getting into it.
Excellent. Did you feel like you were becoming Tim? Did you start losing hair?
I'm not balding yet. I'm not balding yet.
You got a nice hairline, to be fair. Yeah. No. Xenox rounds the curtain like, you guys done? I'm like, can you see a TV?
That's what I have to work with.
It is 5-5, Xenox. FearX NIP. If you are tuning in on those, I'm imagining now the game over on the stream has ended. Welcome over from the B stream. Now, as things have gone, in case you are just joining us, a couple of rounds, FearX really should have closed out. This map could have been done and dusted. It was their map pick. Cafe awaits us next. Chalet is that decider if we need it, which will be interesting, as that is a rematch of what we saw between these 2 teams previously, where NIP stomped them 7-1 on Chalet. So if you're FearX, you're looking at that and saying, this needs to be done in 2, really.
I would love to know the number of unique attacking operators that have been played by FearX in this map. It seems insane. Players now being brought out. We've seen it all, and this might be a direct hit from FearX. Look where they're posturing at the moment.
Given the comp, yeah. Looking in towards that Ying, it's the fast executes, the space taking, the EE1D to disrupt, the glass to play off the back of it as well. They're straight in. Basically, no one's on site here. You've got the mirror in the back line, but Devic's already going in. It's a 5v5. The plan's going down. Walks in, Cons takes him down. The 1-4 between the two into a 4 versus 4 once again. Cons with the C4 in hand, going to find nothing but immediately FearX are outside the building. This is a hard retake for NIP, given you're up against the glass.
All these lines of sight can be held from outside as well. So a tricky round for NIP. FearX, can they hold on? Cons looking to clear all of these angles, making sure no one's on top of the bus, but 20 seconds to go. Cons can maybe go for the long arm attempt. Can FearX deny this?
They're half anticipating a jump out. That's what Mephi's looking out for here. They're starting to stick onto this one, but can they find the man? He's sticking it the whole way through. Down to 2 seconds, down to 1. Guys, where are you? They've let it go through. The jump out was good. The Archives jump out came in. It kept them distracted. It was enough to let Cons hold down F like a real pro for the solid 7 seconds. Started so well. Is that 3 rounds now, you'd argue they've kind of let slip?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was great post-plan play from NIP. I'll give them that 100%, but you should be able to get that one covered better. They conceded top floor. They didn't even take it in the first place, and it left things a little bit ropey for FearX there. I looked and saw the 3 outside the building and thought, this doesn't really feel like it's very well covered, to be honest with you, and they paid the price.
I mean, it was an awkward plant position, right? It wasn't in a spot where outside double door could hold it. It also wasn't a spot where like the bust boost on the vents window could hold it either. So it was a little bit strange. As well, in terms of defense there from NIP, I don't know if Muzi had no charge left on the Solus, but he didn't even have his gadget out during that entire plant phase. So NIP actually initially didn't even know where the plant went down. I guess credit to them for then being able to react to clear side and make sure those angles were covered. But that was a very, very messy round from both teams. Ultimately, though, NIP out on top now with match point.
I do want to touch on it while the leaderboard is up on our screen as well. You guys can't see it, but you will in a minute as we get back into game. Very, very balanced when it looks at the kill distribution across both teams. You know, Cons being the outlier sat down on 4, but everyone else is between 6 and 9. It's very balanced across both teams here in terms of contribution. You're always asking that question, who's going to be the hero? Who's going to be the pointy stick that really steps up and works some magic for a team? Right now, it's more about the actual team effort overall, though.
Yeah, just looking at the replay package from round number 11 just gone. Con's able to get into a position where FearX didn't have an angle. Holds F for 7 seconds, enough to counter defuse the kit. And FearX left a little bit stunned, I think, and probably frustrated. You know, there's been a string of frustrating rounds for them throughout this match. Now, though, no longer able to make any more mistakes here on border. Stirring down a map loss, their map as well. Top floor we go then for NIP. What will the response be like here from FearX, bringing out that Monty once again?
Yeah. Again, I'm always a little bit hesitant because Monty commands that you have a slow round. We've seen some really cool rushes, not all of them successful, but Monty is very much the other end of the spectrum. Everything has to slow down. You try and make a very orchestrated play once you've got the setup in place. And teams haven't had too much success with Monty being the spearhead of a team. He often ends up being a little bit exposed and does eventually get picked off after the changes came through that meant it's a bit easier to stagger. Things don't look too good for the shield-bearing boy. However, maybe FearX have got something cooking up here behind the scenes that means this goes through to overtime. If not, NIP will be breaking Korean hearts and taking a 7-5 win on FearX's map pick.
Well, Mephi top fragging for FearX at the moment. He'll jump onto the Australian gridlock for this particular round. Frag grenades in hand as well, and the ability to, of course, shut down the ability for NIP to rotate, which on a map like Border can make things very, very tricky for the defense. I wonder what the plan will be, though, to deal with this. Monty Cons will play initial contact top east.
Please don't expose your head to it. Please don't. I was so nervous to turn to the side, get swung on and just die. They've got one pushing up the other side as well, so really it's a pinch coming onto East Stairs here, and Cons and Pino really resistant and not wanting to give up this ground as best they can. Monty's working his way forwards. He has got himself at least at the top of break, and now the support coming in from the side. You've also got the Fenrir coming in for the party. A lot of dancing going on around here, and it is keeping FearX at bay. We're halfway through the round and no real ingress made.
Yeah, only a little bit of ground top east. The defense slowly pushed back, still 5 versus 5. In a bit of an awkward round for both teams, sort of poking around and seeing if they can find the edge. Triple wall now to be worked by Demic with those Selmas on the ace. That will expose Pino's position a little bit, put him under some pressure, but Cons is along the side to help out.
Border does not feel like the map where you take 2 minutes to get step 1 done, right? Because they've also got to take control of office here. They've got to get bouncing before they can even start thinking about the site, really. So, very little achieved. 2 minutes down. They're going to start feeling the pressure of the clock here in the next 20 seconds or so. And as we've already remarked, Monty does not go fast.
Well, that single wall now opened up and Pino forced back towards the window. FearX need to be capitalizing upon this, finding a kill as we enter 30 seconds. But Pino with the shotgun up close now on double digits. And NIP edging closer towards this map win.
Heartbreaking for FearX, but for NIP, they've done what they needed to. A great defensive hold around East Stairs has slowed FearX down. It's forcing them into making mistakes, and sure enough, those mistakes are starting to pile up here. A couple go down, a third as well. 2 left. It's actually a 2 versus 2, but there is basically no time left on the clock here. They've got to make something happen, and good boy. Something tells me this ain't quite the way to go. Door's still closed up, gonna have to try and make this plant work. Well, no doubt gets swung on towards Metal here. Makes the cross, but Fountain is now the real threat. Down he goes! NIP do enough to take the map 7-5. That could be the start of a 2-0 win for them going into Cafe being their map pick. Things are only going to get harder from here for FearX.
I mean, I can only describe it as heartbreak. I know it's only one map in this BO3, but the way in which they lost this map, in particular, a couple of key rounds where they had the advantage, has got to sting. NIP, though, can find confidence, especially in their defense. I'm very intrigued to see how all three play out.
Well, first we'll have to hear from the desk before we get into map 2, so let's go to a short break. Back in a few.
Welcome back to the B stream here. It is Wolves, Dplus, Kia, and it is 1-0 to Wolves as well as they took Chalet. It was a unburner of a start though, Tim, where of course the first 4 rounds went back and forth. It was a nice 2-2. We thought we were going to get something very special here, maybe to begin the day, and then it just petered out a little bit and the Wolves' dominance started to shine through.
Yeah, I think that was it. Wolves woke up after those first couple of rounds. I think it was just, you know, standard. You get into the game. I'm sure they've had a little warm-up beforehand, but there was maybe a few some fights that they'd win on any other day, and it allowed Dplus to get into the match a little bit. But as soon as they'd had those first few rounds and settled down, it was pretty much one-way traffic, I think, at that point to Wolves, and they did really well. So expecting more of the same, unfortunately, probably for Dplus Kia. I think here on Clubhouse, it's going to be a tough one for them.
Yeah, it certainly is. We go to Clubhouse next. Of course, it's picked by Wolves, and they're going to be on defense to begin. This could get ugly, considering it's the highest rated defensive win rate map inside of the server at SI24. There were moments for Dplus Kia, and despite the scoreline, certainly a couple of rounds here on Chalet that I thought were very close. You saw some good moments. Yas got a triple kill here. Again, time was a factor in a lot of these rounds. I thought they were quite competitive, but alas, time was a big reason why they lost a lot of these rounds.
Absolutely, and that's something that they need to recognise. Not just you've already picked up on the stat, and it was a fantastic one. I actually know that time to entry being about 1:37. It's really taken them a long time compared to everybody else in the tournament. It's definitely something Dplus needs to work with, and you just wonder, is it? I wouldn't really expect it to be something like a confidence thing. These players are great players, and they've been around the scene a long time. They know what's what, and I'd have thought, they'd have been, sort of well versed in the game plan and ready to get in there and take the chances. But it just feels like they're taking that back seat a little bit at the minute and not grabbing those opportunities as rapidly as the others might do.
What are the expectations coming into Clubhouse with Wolves starting on the defense? I can't help but feel this could get ugly, Tim. That's just the complete honesty in the approach. Why is it going to get ugly? Well, again, it's the most defensive sided map at the tournament thus far, 73%.
Yeah.
When you're coupled then with Wolves, who are the second best defensive team as well at the tournament, 79%, defense is going to be really difficult to crack here for Dplus Kia.
Yes, I'll be honest, I expect Dplus Kia to struggle a little bit on Clubhouse. The attacks are going to be difficult. The map, I think I'd be right in saying it's probably slightly bigger than Chalet. There's certainly a little bit more to do. I think we've just got our teams maybe flip reverse the wrong way around, so we'll get out of there, get them back in the lobby, and we'll get it all sorted. But yeah, I feel like there's more to do a lot of the time on Clubhouse. Like Chalet, you pretty much need to take library or you take master and you work from there. Yep. Whereas Clubhouse, depending where you go in, particularly for that basement attack, you're going to have to, I would expect Wolves to have players out in the map. You're going to have to take the entirety of top floor. You've then still got potential for players to be lurking out in strip. We saw P4 doing it over in master on Chalet. Plenty of opportunities for Wolves to just get a little bit tricksy here on Clubhouse and just burn a lot of time just sort of playing that runaround game of, well, we can drop down garage, we can come back up main stairs, we can be back on top floor. They can do all sorts of things to burn the clock down.
Got good news and I got bad news. The bad news is we got the rehost, obviously, as we evidently saw. The good news, though, probably more so stems for APAC fans and for Dplus Kia, is that Wolves are actually supposed to be attacking first, not defending first.
Okay, so that maybe changes things up a little bit.
We might actually.
It kind of adds more pressure to that first half, though, because if Wolves come in if Wolves come in and get maybe a 3-3 attacking split, you're then looking at Dplus Kia and thinking, oh, have you got 3 attacks in you? Because they're, of course, in the second half going to have to match whatever Wolves do in the first. So if Wolves can get a decent number of attacks in the bank, they're going to come on to defense very, very confident.
Yeah, correct as that. So Wolves will be attacking first going into Clubhouse. Dplus Kia, I think also defending first here on Club is something that they probably need. We go back to Chalet, they had to start on the attack, and again, that slow-paced play style clearly wasn't working for them on Chalet. I can't help envision it's going to be even worse on Club, so maybe getting a couple of rounds. I understand what you mean in terms of that pressure. You're on defense. Arguably, at minimum, you probably need 4 defensive rounds in this meta with the way this map's being played out this tournament. So if they don't get that, there's the added pressure even more so into that second half. So for Dplus Kia, it's not really a free swing, and in fact, it may be more so for Wolves. But again, still, they can get some rounds on the board here on defense, I think far more likely than, say, a Wolves defense first half, where you could easily be looking at like a 6-0, Tim.
Yes. That's exactly it. I think nail on the head there is Dplus Kia need to make the most, or make hay while the sun shines. Get as many of these defensive rounds in the bank as they can, and then see how they go on the attack. So we've got everything ironed out. We've got those sides switched up. Dplus Kia, as you can see, will start on the defense, and Wolves will be on the attack. We've got our bans coming in. Dplus will take the first one out with Dokubi, suggesting maybe leaning in towards them, trying to extend out into the map a little little bit.
Yeah, Dockerby and Ying have been very much hard bans at this tournament so far, especially Dockerby. Maverick does get banned out. This is a map where Tubera, I would imagine, should get banned and does get banned by Wolves. And obviously with the Mav banned out, you certainly do want to then ban out the Tubera. Dplus will get the final one here. I think also when you go and look at Clubhouse, like all of these sites are statistically the same. 73 and 73% for Church Arsenal, Gym Bedroom, and then 72%. Wow, a whopping 1% less for Cash and CCTV in terms of defensive win rates, as Mirror will be the final ban here to begin this second map of the series. Wolves looking for their second 2-0 in a row. Of course, won 2-0 yesterday against Bliss. Although that was a little bit more competitive, 7-5, 8-6. So far, 7-2 on Chalet as we head into club.
That's it. They're going to be one of those top-tier teams that are lining up 3-0. We've got the Sonics as well, of course, another one that I've covered. They've won both of their games so far. I'm sure that there are a couple of others when I have a look through the list in a moment. But, yeah, Wolves, you know, it's been a dream start for them overall, I think.
Yeah.
You know, they've had a number of players going big. Deadshot had his day on day one, Mowgli on day two, and that's exactly what you need, because you're not going to have a tournament of this length a player that just every single day pops off without fail. That's not going to happen. So you're going to have others that can stand up and take the place. It also takes the pressure off those players as well. You know, if Mowgli feels like I've got to get 40 kills in 2 maps every single day, there's a lot of pressure on that. Whereas if he thinks, well, you know what, if I don't do it today, Bibu's going to do it, Deadshot might have a good day.
Yeah.
It just relaxes everybody, I think.
Yeah, because I was speaking to the Bliss guys this morning, and I was sort of asking, how did you think yesterday went? And they're like, oh, it was okay, but there's not much we can do when a player goes and chops 40 kills. So those are kind of the anomalies, if you will. That's not going to happen every single game. And so I think Wolves, I mean, again, I'm not privy to them in terms of the private information, but if I was on that team, I'd think, guys, we won, we played well, Mowgli, insane performance, but I think everyone else has to step up a little bit, because that was not quite the team performance. So far back on Chalet, though, as much as Deadshot, I thought, led the way, really solid team effort. I thought we saw some really good plays from Shinka, from P4. Mowgli got involved as well, so it was a full team effort from Wolves as we head into Clubhouse. It's Church Arsenal to begin here defensively for Dplus here. They've given up a lot of the map, though. Dirt pressure immediately as well from P4 on the Ying, which has been left in, has been commonly banned a little bit at this tournament, along with the Dockerby, but P4 now from Dirt can really be a nuisance.
Yeah, Dplus are completely back on site. All 5 of them have been forced back. Wolves have got themselves Dirt Tunnel. Mowgli's working his way down main stairs. They're really starting to try and push them and sort of try and hurt them a little bit. What I would want to see really from Wolves is don't get too far ahead of yourself either. You know, don't snatch at it. You've got the time. You've got the utility. Let's open up those hatches. Let's pay your due diligence and let's get yourself into a good position. Maybe push a little bit of blue. So you've got blue, you've got dirt, you've got kitchen. You know, really force those multiple angles. Deadshot, he's going to pick up Yas. That's a great start for Wolves. It's now that foundation for them to build on, and they are indeed going to be pushing blue as well. This is going to be really tough. Dplus, they're going to be in the ringer here.
Yeah, there's pressure everywhere right now onto Dplus. The only bit of pressure that might not come through is maybe from Moto's side. Could play off of that, keep a bit of pressure in towards main. Other than that, though, Kitchen's got a lot of pressure. Obviously, there's a double stack inside of Dirt with Bibu and P4. P4 maybe looking to make that entry. The Candelas. It's a triple stack from Blue. So double push Dirt, triple stack from Blue here for Wolves. Not the more conventional take when it comes to Church Arsenal. No Kitchen, no main presence at all. That might make things a little bit more comfortable for Dplus here. Alas, indeed it is. And Deadshot and Bibu are both very low on health. This attack for Wolves has crumbled a little bit.
It has. The Keeper Barricades kind of given the opportunity for Bibu to pick up P4, so not the end of the world, but both of them are low health now, as is Deadshot. And yeah, I think I said, you know, I was looking for that use of the kitchen hatch, get it breached, get yourself down main stairs. They've kind of made it one-sided by dropping that main stairs and kitchen approach. You know, I think the Kaid has been playing tricks with them. They've found it very difficult to open that kitchen hatch. It's still closed, but they've got 2 hard breach gadgets still in the pocket of P4. There was still the opportunity. It's very late in the round now to be going and looking and thinking, oh no, the hatch is electrified, we can't open it. And so, yeah, I think Wolves have just lost the way a little bit here. If they come away with this round, it's going to be a steal.
Deadshot dies in blue. P4 follows in from Secret. Now in a 1 versus 2. Tamale on site. It's the F not mines that have been quite a nuisance, and it's Dplus Kia on the board defensively to begin on Clubhouse. No real surprises there when you take into consideration the map, the site, and also the side. But one thing that, again, kind of wants me to go back a little bit. Day one, Wolves, Clubhouse against SSG. Again, a different kind of level of opponent, but only one attacking round win. That was a concern. A big reason for that, they struggled against the Tubarão. Obviously, they've banned it out this time. They're not going to allow it through a second time with the way in which they struggled against it at the hands of SSG. But still, only one attacking round one on Clubhouse back on day one. And you can kind of see some differences already between Chalet and Club with the way their attack broke down. We didn't really see that a lot on Chalet.
Yeah, I think, Wolves they just need to make sure that they're getting the basics right. There was no reason, really, to be failing out on that kitchen hatch. I think, obviously, yep, you're playing against a bit of electricity, but you've got the book. You can open up around it. You can stop players, from playing underneath there with the impact tricking, with everything else, and get yourself that hatch open. It's one that we see, opened almost all the time. So a little bit of dropping the ball there from Wolves, unfortunately, inside the kitchen. But heading into round two, this time they're going to be attacking onto Gym and Bedroom as Dplus Kia take us up to the top floor.
Yes, indeed they do. Gym Bedroom for the second round. Good signs for Dplus Kia, and it goes back to kind of what I was saying a little bit in our prior discussion of this match, Tim, was the fact that with Dplus on the defense, yes, expectations, they need to get rounds, you absolutely must, but by getting said rounds and being able to start well, that builds confidence then going into the second half. So I still like the fact that for Dplus Kia, they're on the defense to begin, get a couple of rounds under your belt, start to feel the confidence inside of the server. For Wolves, it also gives them a really good opportunity, a free punch to improve on their attack, because that's been one area I think that they've had a bit of a weakness at SI so far, is their attack.
Are they going to get tricked out here? We've got Bibu just stacked up on that construction wall, so they're wanting to push in there and try and get Woogieman and Damali moving. And it has dropped away, been forced Soldier back into logistics by opening that hatch. So again, yep, Wolves just settling into the round, coming back. The Rotero drones just clearing out more utility as well. Doing it, it was one of my areas of criticism last time. You didn't get open what you needed to open. This time, they certainly seem to be doing a better job of it. But Woogieman and Damali, they are still in position over on Cash and Red Stairs. The fact that construction wall has been opened has not moved them, but Bibu is able, potentially, to get this one open, but...
Oh, big turnaround from Soldier.
Perfect.
And the double push that was Mowgli also covers the previous player. 4 versus 3, Dplus. Well, I thought maybe no one was watching top main, but a quick response and a very sharp shot as well from Coded off the main breach of Jacuzzi. He gets a quick kill, keeps the advantage for Dplus Kia. Talk about the aggression of Wolves being thwarted pretty comfortably by Dplus. Like the first round, now into the second, they've still got themselves advantages.
Yeah, Dplus are in a great position here. 3v2. They know that both of the attackers are coming from the Jacuzzi breach. There is time if Wolves want to rotate one over, but with only 2 of you alive, you don't really want to separate yourselves like that. Just aware of the potential for frost mats. Deadshot gets himself into a nice position here, sees the man on the rotate, levels things up 2v2. Bibu goes into support, and there is an opportunity for Wolves here. They need to carve themselves a little bit of space. Maybe a second kill would do the job for them to be able to put that diffuser down.
40 seconds, so still time. It's not too desperate for the Wolves. I think they've got themselves enough time to get some drones out, get some good flank watch. We'll see whether or not that's going to help them out. Nicely set up from Bibu. I think they're aiming to get this plant inside a gym.
Yeah, exactly that. He's going to get in behind the weights. There's nobody underneath that's going to be able to deal with this, so Deadshot's on the cover. Just needs to hold it down whilst Bibu gets the plant down. But Woogieman gets an important kill. Damali able to get Deadshot, and Dplus Kia play that beautifully.
Yeah, from start to finish for Dplus Kia, some really good moments from Wolves there towards the end. I thought the way that Deadshot and Bibu played as the 2-man against the 3, they played it really well. They understood they still had some time, got the flank watch drones out for others to sit and watch, get the plant down, did so successfully. But when it came time to make that entry to get the retake, Dplus were swift and they moved as a team. They used the 3-man numbers advantage to win the trades, to win the crossfires, and ultimately a dream start here in Clubhouse. 2 opening rounds. Again, it's club defense, kind of have to keep that preface, but still, nevertheless, considering their opponent, considering what we've seen from Dplus this tournament, these are really good signs from them, and even so much so, they've forced a tactical timeout from Wolves already.
Just after 2 rounds, yeah, it's certainly a big call to pull the trigger on the tactical timeout at this point. Wolves certainly need to get something going there. I just felt like it wasn't even necessarily that Wolves did anything wrong there. there, Dplus just dealt with the round really well. They had the push up main stairs, they got the kill. The Jacuzzi breach was open, they were aggressive on it and got more kills and left themselves in a 4v2. Wolves must have been sat there thinking, well, you know, what else can we really do? They'd open construction, but Woogieman and Damali refused to move out of cash and red stairs anyway. They stayed there to hold on to that far side of the map. So yeah, even, you know, phantom pressure didn't work, trying to push in through the breach didn't really work, and then in the 2v2, Dplus Kia played it beautifully.
Yeah, I think one thing that Wolves, actually Dplus need to understand, and so far I think have been understanding, is Wolves aren't spreading out so much. They're actually kind of going in these like little 3-2 splits. We saw it in the opening round where they kind of just went dirt and blue. They didn't have any pressure main, didn't have any pressure moto, and we saw it again here where it was that kind of main stairs jacuzzi push. Outside of that though, no cash con pressure, nothing on the balcony outside gym bedroom. Ultimately, again, I think that means it's a very kind of one-dimensional push from Wolves. If Dplus are aware of that, they don't need to spread their defense too thin. They're in good positions to get those cross angles. Played it really well. Great start. We head into the third round. It's Cash and CCTV now, and all the opportunity for Dplus to really set themselves a solid momentum base moving forward in this match.
Yep. Wolves' tactical timeouts have been pretty impactful so far, if I'm right in my memory. I think they've certainly come out and won rounds on the back of them, so they're going to be hoping for more of the same here. They really need to get things going and pick up that first attack. You feel like, I don't know, we spoke about it coming in like it was going to be a slippery slope for Dplus, that, you know, there was the potential for Wolves to just run away with this. Certainly hasn't been the case so far, but you still even now feel like if Wolves get that first one, it could be, you know, the spark in the powder keg that really fires them in. But for the time being, B-Boot is going to be over by the construction wall looking for the breach. Nobody's touching garage, nobody is touching CCTV breach at the minute.
And I'm very curious to see the way in which Wolves are going to approach this again. Do they go for that kind of 3-2 split? Are they going to be a little bit of that one-dimensional? I think on Cash and CCTV, you probably don't want to be doing that. Open up Jacuzzi, try and get kennels, do all of that, kind of split them out. You want to almost put pressure on Dplus, you know, strangulate them, force them on site. Don't allow them to have all of these different positions.
Look at the confidence that Dplus have got at the minute, though. Construction wall's been open. Yas is still playing in construction. Don't care. I'm just going to stand on the master bedroom door and I'm going to challenge anybody who tries to come in through that wall. And Dplus have got those couple of rounds, and it's obviously just sort of giving them that sort of pep. Maybe they could do with a little less pep as Deadshot does take down Yas. He's going to get caught out in master bedroom. Courted manages to find Mowgli. 4 versus 4.
Yeah, a lot of focus right now on that northern side towards gym bedroom, but it's Dplus again that are withstanding any and all pressure. 4 versus 3. There goes Damali falling to Shinka, but the trades keep coming through. It's the third round in a row, Tim, where again for Dplus Kia, they've just got players in position. They've got the cross angles covered. 3 versus 1. It just feels like Wolves are constantly outnumbered.
Well, they've just challenged Woogieman 1 by 1. You know, they had 2 players there ready to go. 1 in gym, 1 coming from breach. If the 1 in gym can just hold for a second, use the weights, get some cover, and allow his man to drop onto that breach, Woogieman is kind of in, again, one of those no-win situations I was talking about. He's got somebody on both sides of him, but it's just seemed mistimed a little bit, and it's allowed Woogie to get one, reset, turn, and get the next. And all of a sudden, you're in a 1v3, and Dplus Kia are 3-0 up.
It's not worrying signs just yet. Obviously, again, preferencing the fact that it's defense on Clubhouse. There's expectations here for Dplus to get these rounds. But for me, it's the way they're winning these rounds. Where are the plants? We're not really seeing a whole lot of plants. We saw 1 gym bedroom, but ultimately, again, that was a pretty swift retake anyway from Dplus Kia. We're not seeing map control for Wolves either. They're not really getting what they want, because I think Dplus have actually played really well in kind of offsetting entry points. They're kind of ready to take those entry fights, Dplus. They don't look scared. They're not sitting just on site all huddled together. They're pushing out. They're getting map control. They're making it very difficult for Dplus Kia. For Wolves. 3-0 for Dplus Kia, and they get to go back to basement here. And also, that was off the back of a timeout, Tim. Yeah, typically when teams statistically take timeouts, there's that little raise in win percentage. They don't get it there, the Wolves, and now they'll be wondering a little bit what needs to be done to break down this defense.
That's it. Dplus is certainly not scared at the minute. That's the thing that I've written in my notes there. Just they're not playing with any fear. Construction wall gets open. Normally you'd see defenders moving back towards site, thinking, right, you know, we'll give up that side of the map. But no, Woogieman's still playing over by Jacuzzi Breach, and I'm going to stay there and I'm going to get 2 kills. He just won't be moved. Yeah. And, you know, with that, Yas as well, yeah, he got caught out in master bedroom, but again, they're just not letting Wolves dictate what they do on the defense at the minute. And it's working very, very well for Dplus.
So 3-0 into the 4th round now. Hope. once again, is the key word when it comes to APAC. It's been prevalent before many a time. And that hope usually does get crushed, does it not? Ever. Over and over again. And maybe might be the round Wolves could look to change things up a little bit. More lurk, more spread, a bit more map control. Look to kind of play a little bit more default rather than this kind of group together push, try to overload, because clearly Dplus are doing well against it.
They're recognising what the problems were previously, so they struggled to get the hatches open. This time they've got a Thatcher. Shinka's brought that along. So they've got the utility that they need. They're going to get the opener as well. Deadshot onto Damali. Deadshot just taking the opportunity to take some ground here. And it also looks like Bibu is looking to push on into sight. Manages to get one onto Woogieman as well. Yas is going to play on the hatch above, but to be honest, he's unlikely to do any major damage from there. It's a difficult bulletproof to deal with, but Bibu's going to get out of line of sight, and he's going to be planting on that default spot. Wolves have seen the opportunity well. This is more like the Wolves we saw on Chalet. They've seen the opportunity, they've identified it correctly, and they've gone in and taken that ground, and it's as easy as that. Flawless round for Wolves, looking night and day different to the last 3 rounds.
Immaculate, Tim. That's the Wolves we expect and that we probably anticipated to see a little bit more of here on Clubhouse. They were direct in their approach. They looked like they had a formulated plan of attack in terms of what they wanted to do, a little bit more of that hatch pressure. The biggest difference was ultimately hitting some really good shots. The entry from Deadshot clearly opened things up for them, and from there they were able to kind of trickle in, snowball, keep getting a bit of pressure onto site. Then it becomes a 5 versus 3 in favor of them. You kind of then looked at the map holistically, and Dplus were all spread out in their nice little areas that previously in rounds were winning them these rounds, but because they had no real kind of site pressure, that meant Wolves could get the plant down. Then it's retake, and Wolves are in the best positions to deal with that. 1 to 3, Wolves on the board. Dplus here really can't be affording to allow many more rounds. They need, I think, at least 4 minimum, ideally 5, yes. But I think 4 would be good enough at the very least. Still, into the 5th round we go, and Wolves now maybe have unlocked the formula here.
Yeah, I mean, if you remember coming in, I said if we go 3-3 on the half, I think it's a bit of a big ask for Dplus because they have to win 3 attacks then against that Wolves defense. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right in what you're saying. It is essential that Dplus be getting at least 1 more defensive round. Let's be honest, they could really do with 2 to get that 5-1 half. But they've looked good so far. It's just whether Wolves can now continue that last round. It was just so much better. They see the space, they take it. Dplus, you feel like maybe gave them a little bit more space. Like they had Yas up in stock. Last time all 5 were on site. Yeah. And that was sort of the strength of that defense, really. It just forced Wolves to play into all those guns.
It's not a bad idea. You kind of sit the stock.
It's fine.
You think maybe they might just be a little bit, unaware of the surroundings, push through a couple of easy kills, but Wolves aren't going to fall for that. We saw the yellow pings. We saw them waiting for that hatch drop play anyway. They anticipated that play. So I think maybe in that round, Dplus tried to do a little too much themselves rather than looking to deny Wolves. We'll see what this ends up bringing, though, for Jim Bedroom. 5th round for Dplus defensively. Last time out, it was that massive jacuzzi pressure along with the lurk push-up main stairs from Wolves.
Yeah, this is good from Wolves. They've managed to do several things quite quickly. Like you say, they're not relying on that sort of backstab push. It looks like Dplus are kind of ready for that as well. There is a player positioned on those main stairs. But the bathroom wall being open so early is a big one for Wolves. There's a keeper barricade just been played across it to show you the sort of importance of that angle that they've opened up. But it is just going to prevent Dplus from being able to play aggressively in their soldiers in a little bit of a perilous spot as well. If Wolves can get themselves into a position to clear Jim, there's a plant on here potentially. They do need to consider the downstairs though. Yas is underneath.
Yeah, Bibu's still on that rappel outside main breach of Kennels as well, watching that Woogieman. Damali with top red control still, the deployable shield, all of that being largely ignored. Yas coming out through from strip side as coded, gets the opening kill onto Mowgli. A lot of this pressure coming over towards Jacuzzi, and that is Kit down because of the Nitro Soul from Soldier on to Deadshot. Now it's a 5 versus 2. Kit outside Jacuzzi wall. That should be common knowledge as well because of Coded's position. Bibu's on the other side of the map. He's still over towards Kennels. He's on the wrong side. He's on the wrong site. And Shinka's on the roof. Wolves are not in a position to try and salvage this round with a 5 versus 2, and the 2 are nowhere near Kit, are nowhere near sight. This is going to be a very difficult ask for Wolves.
Yeah, 45 seconds left. They're just trying to carve through this defense. If Shinka and Bibu can pick up these 2 kills and find themselves 2v3 pushing into construction, if they can do it quickly enough, they might get away with this. But the double impact nade comes out from the Azami. Woogieman just using his experience there, knows he doesn't need to take the gunfight and will down Shinka. There might be an opportunity for Bibu, but I don't think he'll take it. It would be a bit of a big risk, but he's going to do it behind the flashbang. Nobody's going to push him at this point because Dplus know they don't need to. 15 seconds left to go. Bibu finds Damali, goes in through the FNAT, but Soldier finishes off Shinka, finishes off Bibu, and Dplus with another very solid defense.
Okay, that was hot from Soldier. I mean, to be fair, it's a 5 versus 2. You can get a little bit aggressive. Goes for the jump out, the balcony through the CC window, gets one, and then jumps back in, gets the second. 4-1 lead for Dplus Kia. 1 round to go at the half. Can they achieve that sort of magical number of 5-1, the number that you would have set out to achieve coming into Clubhouse? Now, of course, we know Wolves will be more than capable of being able to replicate that, Tim. I'm not putting a line through this game. I'm not sitting here saying, oh my god, Dplus, are they going to do it? We know what Wolves are going to be capable of on the defense. My issue is that there is still that very clear issue for Wolves attacking into a map like Clubhouse. That's a concern for me, especially when you consider their opponent.
Yeah, 100%. You know, it's something that I'm sure teams that they will play against later in the tournament will be looking at and thinking, right, you know, maybe there's a weakness, maybe there's something that we can take advantage of. You know, looking at what are Dplus doing right on the defense, they just seem to be having these moments where they hit Wolves so hard, and it's just like 2 or 3 kills, bang, 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 and all of a sudden Wolves are in a 2v5. Like, what do you do with the round? And that's just been the case for a couple of these rounds where Dplus have just sort of, you know, pulled that trigger, just gone aggressive at a point. It was the last time that they did Gym and Bedroom as well, that they were able to get the kill on main stairs, turn around, get the kill on breach, and all of a sudden it was a 2v4 in that case for Wolves. But yeah, very, very difficult to play against that sort of explosiveness.
73% defensive win rate. The Church Arsenal so far at R6 Invitational 24. And that is where we go to close out this first half with Dplus Kia in what has been a standout defensive performance. But despite all of these plaudits that we give them, if they lose this round, then certainly 4-2 might not be enough. So still a chance for Wolves to salvage something to close out this first half. In a half that, once again, their attacking style hasn't quite been up to par at this tournament.
Well, this is it. You look across the side of Wolves, you've got Mowgli 2-4, you've got P4 1-4, you've got Shinka 1-4. It's not enough. You've got 3 players that have got 4 kills between them in 5 rounds. That's not even enough to win 1 round, Xenox. 4 kills is not even going to buy you 1 round. Yeah. And so, you know, this is... Wolves have to start winning the gunfights. They have to start getting on top of Dplus Kia.
It's interesting you kind of bring up those statistics in terms of the individuals. Well, Damali's 1-3. Yas is actually 0-4. Yeah. So even for Dplus, it hasn't quite been that full 5-man standout. Either way, 90 seconds left. And Soldier going for a bit of a trick on the hatch with that electric claw. Wolves maybe a bit more of that conventional approach, trying to put pressure in and around that kitchen and hallway position. Main stairs will clearly be a big factor for them as well. But time is seeming to be a factor. Dplus still 5 versus 5 on site, looking pretty. I think they've got themselves a good chance to close out this half 5-1, especially if it comes down to just sort of the gunplay, because so far Dplus has been winning that.
To get away with that, I was just clenching my teeth there. Deadshot running around on top of that pre-placed Nitro with no idea, but he gets away with it, only to be picked up by a Woogie Man from underneath. Great vertical kill there. They've done another fantastic job of keeping this kitchen hatch closed. It will be opened eventually. 45 seconds left to go. They do still have the seconds on the clock that they need here, the Wolves, but 4 versus 5 now. They're again at a man disadvantage as P4 gets taken down.
Massive kill too, because P4 was the only one that had utility in terms of flashes to help entry on towards site. Now it was only one more Hive launcher available from Bibu. He's used that. It's a dry run now for the Wolves. The last 3 players have absolutely nothing to really aid them in getting in towards site, and Dplus have the numbers. Coated has been knocked out, but they've got position here to deal and get these trades. Surely, never mind. A swarm of kills here for Wolves gives them a huge advantage. It's a 3 versus 1. It's only Yas, and he's the man with no kills.
Shinka manages to get the diffuser down on the ground as well. Yas might not have any kills up to that point, but he manages to find Mowgli. 2 versus 1 effectively, though, as Coated is down. Yas has got so much work to do here. Shinka will finish him off. Always important because those down players kind of act like live cams, really. Still feeding information into their team. Yas takes the challenge onto Boxers. Going to rotate through, showing the importance of rotates there to pick up Shinka from the alternate angle, but Wolves have played it smart. They've taken taken the vertical. Yas has only got about 5 seconds to do something about this. He's going to tickle the diffuser, but there's no way Bibu lets him stick it. Time has passed. That is the round done, and Wolves have won this one to take at least another attacking round and leave themselves 2-4.
What a strange round, Tim. I've got absolutely no idea. Would love an instant replay to really see what has just transpired. It was a 5-on-3 that then turned into a 3-on-1. Talk about just making a last-ditched attempt, pushing through main, pushing through dirt. They all just kind of hit their ones on the entry.
That was it.
It wasn't really this overload of a singular position. It was like, we're just going to split up. We're going to all have our own entry, and good luck. And the luck was not really needed. They hit really good shots. They started to really open up the site, and Wolves get a critical second attacking round.
The kill onto the Warden, particularly just playing inside of the dirt door, was a real key because you're playing in behind the shield. Obviously got the glasses, can't be flashed out. It's going to be very difficult. But yeah, managing to dislodge him allowed then Shinka to get in and put that diffuser down, and that was pretty much all they needed. Dplus were in a little bit of disarray then once that diffuser was in position, 2v2, but Courted was quickly downed, and it made life very difficult for them. But it was just a point that I called during there as well, and it's sort of, you know, obviously we always talk about all this high-level stuff, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that join us for the Invitational that, you know, maybe haven't played Siege for too long. Maybe it's the first time watching the esport, and it just showed the importance of the rotates. They didn't end up winning, but Yas managed to get a really critical kill onto the player that was inside his sight. It was Shinka that he was able to take down, so he challenges him from double door church. But if you sat there thinking, why do they open up these rotates? I'm reinforcing in ranked and I keep getting shouted at. It's because you give yourself so many more options. Without the rotation in the soft wall to get through into blue, Yas just has to keep pushing the same angle, and Shinka knows where he's coming from. But now Shinka has to watch 3 different points because of the 2 rotates and the door, and Yas takes full advantage of it. It was just a beautiful little example of that. But overall, a good round from Wolves. They, again, I think just created space, saw the opportunity, went in, and this time won their fights. I said it at the beginning of the round. They need to start winning those gunfights, putting some numbers on the board to win the rounds. They get themselves onto defense. Let's see if they're a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, they get themselves onto defense as well with 2 rounds to their name, which is a little bit more comfortable instead of just the one.
It might be okay for Wolves.
I think it's more than okay. I think Dplus needed the 5-1 scoreline to really get themselves best chance. In saying that, there's enough rounds on the board here where maybe Dplus, I'm going to say the L word, could get a bit lucky, could get a couple of shots that opens up sight. That's all it can sometimes take, even at this level. If Wolves put a misstep wrong here or there, Dplus can punish that. You got to make this 5-2. Suddenly, it's a whole different story then immediately. So this is now not a moment where Wolves can just switch off and go, oh, we're on defense now. Oh, okay, this will be all easy. They still need to be locked in and focused. They've got a couple of rounds that they really need to get back in terms of that scoreboard pressure.
Wookieman's going to be going in and doing the work with the book, getting the verticals open. I mean, he's looking for anybody watching the freezer door. I always worry about opening that vertical straight inside freezer door, because inevitably player after player is going to go in and out of that door, and I just think, have you given the enemy a line of sight to just pick you up? It's always worthwhile remembering that, of course, those angles do work both ways, and Mowgli has just shown exactly that. Thank you for the perfectly timed kill, Mowgli.
50 seconds remaining, so time a factor. Kitchen hatch actually still closed as well. So probably not, again, really a showcasing really rapid attack from Dplus here. It's something we saw back on Chalet, something we've seen from them so far at this tournament. And again, it means that for Wolves in a 5 versus 4 with 30 seconds left, it's going to be a pretty standard sort of hats drop, maybe a bit of main stairs push as well. That's going to be really comfortable for Wolves to deal with that and thwart that on a Church Arsenal site here of Clubhouse. So far from Dplus with 20 seconds, you can't just be droning. You've got to be finding good positions. They've really been stalled out here, and I don't see a world in which they're going to be able to be successful, barring some kind of defensive collapse from Wolves. They are really well positioned to deal with this attack from Dplus.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those, you know, textbook last 10-second bloodbaths inside of Church and Arsenal. Soldier does manage to get into a planting position here. Mowgli doesn't see him because of the scope on his gun. Can't quite get there. He will be down 4 versus 3, but the problem for Wolves here is Dplus Kia have the vertical. They've managed to absolutely steal this away from under them, and Wookieman, he's going to sit there on top. Someone from Wolves is going to have to go upstairs.
They've got a couple of impacts as well. Nitrocell can certainly still win from this position. There is set Nitrocell, but never got to pull the trigger. Shinka got on the diffuser momentarily, but eventually loses his life. Now 2 versus 1, still 17 seconds. Time a factor, P4 right into the kitchen. Quad for Woogie Man, but then shot and shut down. Is there time for Deadshot? Yes, indeed there is. Rapid response from Wolves, and simply marvelous as they get the job done. It's 3-4.
Well, what a retake. I was on the edge of my seat through that. Woogie Man was so close to locking that down. As I said, he was on the 4K. It was just having that vertical pressure. If you've got a plant down in Church and Arsenal, get a player into kitchen. You will almost always win the round. It is such a powerful spot with the diffuser down, and Wolves really took their eye off the ball a little bit. I don't know if Mowgli was, I called it at the time, I think he was a little bit unfortunate. He was ADS, and I think his scope was just kind of blocking. I think the boxers make it difficult to see that position as well, but his scope was definitely blocking out that area. I know the players are sometimes on different resolutions and stuff, but even then his scope would have been, I'm pretty confident in saying no matter which res he was on, his scope would have been in the way. So yeah, a real tough one for them, but they've got to be careful they don't take their eye off the ball too much like that.
I did love that though from Dplus here, because they didn't go for the conventional kitchen hatch drop. They knew that would have been watching, so what was their win condition? Go for something a little bit cheeky and sneaky, down main, slip in and try and get that plant down, and it was done so successfully, and immediately you caught on, you're like, oh, Dplus now have all of this vert pressure and nothing from Wolves because they're sitting back of sight, but Wolves also were clued onto that immediately. How quickly did we just see them go out of dirt, out of back of Arsenal, and started just pushing their way down, trying to do as much as they possibly could in terms of pressure, with impacts, with nitro cells, then eventually running up main. They wasted no time, and time was the biggest factor in the end. We saw how close it was in terms of that counter diffuse. If you had just wasted 5 seconds, then Dplus win that round and would be looking at a 5-2 scoreline. So a really impressive round, I think, from both teams. I think both had really good moments.
Well, it's something that I mentioned on Chalet. Decisiveness is something that I've seen from Wolves and that I'm enjoying from them. And again there, I called it with probably about 30 seconds left to go. I said they have to retake the top floor. There is no way they get away with this if Woogie Man stays in kitchen. And they went up, they doubled up, all their eggs in one basket. They knew that the last two alive had to go up there and had to get that kill, and Deadshot comes away with it. So, good retake from Wolves. I think Dplus Kia probably a little bit unlucky as well. I think, it's fair to say it was a good attack from them. They did what they needed to do, and they just got, they lost it to one gunfight at the end, and Deadshot was low health as well coming away from it. It could have gone either way.
Yeah, it certainly could have. Woogie Man now 12-5 after that quad round from him. Really strong performance inside a kitchen to deny the retake from Wolves, but Wolves were successful in said retake as they looked to open up single wall in towards Con after Kennels got opened up as well. So at least getting to work decently timed with these main wall breaches as we go to Gym Bedroom for this 8th round. 90 seconds left as Yas using the Quan Hive launcher to get himself in towards CCTV and Cash.
There's a bit more commitment to that Cash clearance, I think, than Wolves really brought to the table. They kind of opened up construction wall and then left it a little bit and went to Jacuzzi, and they never really got themselves established in CCTV. It meant that they couldn't play the windows. They didn't really give themselves enough options, I didn't feel, when they were attacking onto Gym and Bedroom, whereas Dplus is certainly trying to do that. Woogie Man in position to take down Mowgli. That's going to give a lot more access into construction. It also leaves Deadshot really out in the cold at this point in Cash.
He is kind of stuck on an island here inside a Cash. One thing I'll mention, though, with under a minute left, that Jacuzzi wall's going to stay closed. Yep. So that kind of helps out Wolves defensively, knowing that at their back, they're not going to be as pressured. They've still got main stairs control as well. It does mean this is a little one-dimensional from Dplus. It's a straight Con push. They still haven't dealt with Deadshot either towards Con and Cash, and Deadshot then makes them pay with the double kill, something that they couldn't quite deal with. He's the ticket man. They didn't have the ticket. They couldn't get past him.
Yeah, Deadshot's coming up big for Wolves today when they need him again. We saw it on day one, and he's having another good day at the office. We've got two pushing in from construction, trying to get into logistics, but Chinka is well aware he's there and ready for the fight. 15
Shotgun.
seconds, they're just going to have to go. He finds one. Does he find two? No, he doesn't need to, because Bibu is there supporting. Again, something Wolves have done well over the last couple of days is backing each other up, is having that trust in each other. Shinka's got Bibu over his shoulder, and they mop it up together.
Yeah, a little bit more critical maybe of that round in terms of Dplus Kia, completely just foregoing Jacuzzi, no real main stairs pressure, no lurk down below either, pushing through and then going for maybe a bit of a pinch on site. Instead, it was very one-dimensional. Cash, Con, it couldn't even really deal with the player inside of Cash either, and Deadshot, who really did his job to perfection. If Deadshot doesn't get any kills there, then suddenly we're looking at a much different scenario where it's likely 4 versus 3 in favor of Dplus Kia that didn't have Con in towards bedroom and or logistics. That would then open things up. They could play the balcony. They could really kind of spread out towards the end. Instead, they lose numbers. They've only got 2 left. At that point, they just feel like, okay, let's just double stack push logistics. And who's there? Man with a shotgun, up close. Round is over. 4-4 scoreline. Wolves getting it done so far defensively in Clubhouse. No surprise here. And it goes back for Dplus Kia. You're not going to get many opportunities. You've got to take them when they're there.
CCTV will be our next site then, and as you say, you sort of feel like the tide's turning a little bit now, the fact that the score's been leveled up. We've interestingly got Shinka on the Tachanka now then. The reason that we see Tachanka played on this site sometimes, and I imagine this is how Shinka's going to play it, is as an alternative to the smoke. So if Shinka plays in and around Cash or top red stairs, his fire canisters can be bounced off the wall just inside of the bomb chassis and can drop down onto that default plant spot. Exactly there. Thank you to our wonderful observer. So you can bounce them off the reinforced wall, and they're just going to drop exactly into that plant spot. So you've got 15 of those canisters, no, 20, sorry, of the Shumika canisters that can be used by Shinka, and that is going to give, you know, a lot of time that can be denied. But it does rely a little bit on Dplus Kia actually pushing in through Garage. We haven't seen a single attack yet that has opened breach and gone into Garage when pushing this side.
That's true, that's true. P4 sitting up there on the Azami, that's a very difficult threat to deal with in terms of that Rafters position inside of Garage. So, you know, clearly maybe something that Dplus might feel like, hey, let's just circumnavigate that. Let's go open up Jacuzzi, up main stairs, push through from the Con side, put a bit of pressure on Kennels, then maybe balcony outside CC window, and look to ignore Garage as much as possible. Time, though, again, biggest factor when it comes to these attacks for Dplus Kia. We saw it once again be quite slow in that last round. Minute and a half was when they really started to get those main breaches opened up. Well, again, it's a minute and a half. Where's their map control? I'm looking at them outside of the map. They haven't really got a whole lot of pressure. They haven't dealt with Deadshot towards logistics. They haven't dealt with Mowgli towards bedroom, and they obviously haven't got much towards site either. Finally, just now, minute 25, and Kennels has only just been opened up for CCTV.
And at the minute, what good does that do them? They don't have rafters. P4's still out there in Garage playing, so they can't push in through the breach for a plant because P4 will cut them down, so they have to deal with that if they want to use this side of sight. All they've really done is prevent Wolves from rotating in and through CCTV at the minute. They are going to start working on Garage by the looks of things. They have opened up at least part of the wall, and they're looking to try just a meter behind where he needed to be there, Woogie Man. But yeah, until they've dealt with Garage, it doesn't really open up an opportunity for them to plant. And
time
you know
is a
what?
factor.
Time is ticking now.
Yeah, it's 45 seconds. They haven't dealt with Rafters. Double push on the gem bedroom side as well from Wolves, so they're not going to get back pushed. They've still got top red. There's a bit of a stack over towards main breach. This is probably one of the poorer rounds attacking-wise from Dplus Kia, and you can clearly see it. Wolves have not really had much pressure either. Only just now, Yas on the Capitao, getting out these incendiaries to try and clear out P4 from Rafters. And what does P4 do? He pushes to the stairs. He gets the kill onto Yas. It's a slaughter. I don't even know if we're allowed to show this on the stream. Wolves have just dismantled Dplus Kia's very impotent attack. This has been one of the really horror rounds attacking-wise from Dplus Kia. Wolves under no threat at all. They deal with it comfortably, and they take the lead here now on Clubhouse.
Yeah, left with 5 seconds to go and Soldier on Repel with no opportunity to get in. It just felt like, I'm not sure Dplus really knew what the plan was there. They sort of went and opened construction wall. They sort of tickled around Master a little bit, and I was wondering if the push was going to come through to construction. Then they decide to open up the main breach, but haven't done anything about Garage. You know, the thing is, that is a very simple site to attack. If you decide, so long as you make a decision, so long as you decide, right, we're going from main breach, right, so we're going to need to take Rafters, we're going to need to take main breach. Both of those things can be done within 60 to 90 seconds. And at that point, all you need to do is control lounge, and you've got everything you need. You can start going in there and trying to put that bomb chassis down behind those server stacks. you've just got to get on with doing it. And Dplus never did. It was like, right, we're going to have a look over here. Okay, yeah, we'll maybe play for the main breach, but, you know, we've only got 40 seconds left. We don't have garage. And there was just, you know, no decisiveness. And that was the problem, I think.
Very evident and very much agree. That was certainly, look, I think there's been good moments from Dplus here when they've been there.
Yeah, absolutely.
They've given them the plaudits. That round, though, certainly no real plaudits that could go. And Wolves were just sitting there probably with 30 seconds left, like, are they attacking? Are they going to actually come in towards us? And then it was like this half-hearted effort last to maybe try and clear out rafters with the incendiary. We see it plenty of times, very common. Bring that Capital, shoot out the incendiary bolts, clear out rafters as they push out of position, have someone holding the angle. But no one was holding the angle. So P4 was just pushed out of position and immediately swung the Capital, gets the kill anyway. And like you said, no one's watching main breach. They had no real pressure anywhere else. It was a really poor round.
Well, this is the problem. By leaving it to the 2-minute mark to push rafters, what you've done, really, is you've given P4 a free pass because he's done his job. He's burnt 2 minutes, so he's going nowhere. What he's going to do is he's going to swing you. You know he's going to swing you. If that's in the first 30 seconds of the round, P4 is maybe a little bit more hesitant. He's thinking, I don't want to give up rafters yet. I need to burn more time. I don't want to give my life away. Do I need to leave here? What do I need to do? Whereas at 2 minutes, he's going, yeah, I'm just going to swing them, lads. I'm just going to, you know, there's no reason not to.
He's got no choice either because he's pushed out by the incendiary.
Yeah,
and as you said, with like 20, 30 seconds left at that point,
just go for it. Whatever. It's like, you know, you see the players stood next to the windows with 30 seconds and you think they're 3 versus 1. They're going out of this window. It was exactly the same mentality from P4 and Wolves did really well on the defense. Dplus just didn't push them.
Struggling to find where Dplus are going to get this attacking round win now because they've had a couple of moments. Church Arsenal, ironically, the closest that it's been for them when it came down to that 1v1.
They're not going to get away with that attack again, though.
No, they're not. They're going to need pressure elsewhere. They need to be a little bit more rapid in their attacking play style as well. I'm trying to really think. Maybe next time I kind of look Dplus here throughout a series, really trying to see where are they wasting a lot of that time. Is it over-droning? Is it just not getting through these checklists in a hurried manner? Are they just a little bit slow in doing a little bit of everything and that just all bundles together? Really difficult to kind of pinpoint, especially when there's not exactly an extensive roam here from Wolves. So it's not like they're being pressured by the defense. They've got the map. They can get in. They can start working on this checklist of hatches and getting drones in good positions and trying to put pressure on those sitting on site. But we're looking at 90 seconds left. I'm looking at all 3 hatches still closed.
Yeah, there's just not enough work been done, especially to say that they've... It's kind of like Chalet again. You know, they've been given the map, essentially. Wolves have...
They have a Thatcher as well.
Yeah, you know, they've got everything that they need. Wolves are happy to play on site. They need to just be getting in there a little bit more confident, a little bit more quickly, because time has been the factor. We've said it over and over and over again for Dplus here. You know, they've been losing rounds because they haven't had enough seconds left on the clock, and they've just had to rush things. And right now, Wolves are looking really comfortable with a minute left to go.
Well, BB maybe not so much if he can't get that trick. The trick has not been able to come through. Moto gets opened up. He's forced out of that position in towards Church now. 50 seconds. Okay, finally, some of these hatches, stock still closed. I think at this point will likely remain closed as they've got a bit of kitchen pressure, a bit of moto pressure. It's something, but I'm not seeing anyone rotating, say like blue side or dirt side or from oil pit. It's a very kind of one-dimensional kind of main stairs, kitchen kind of drop, maybe a bit of moto, and I think Wolves are really well placed to deal with that.
It certainly looks that way. Soldier's going to be taking the line of sight in there through the church wall. I don't know if that second Selma charge detonating might just expose Bibu a little bit. No, he's just managing to keep himself out of reach. Soldier continually trying. He's got Bibu absolutely pinned here. Coated looks like he's coming for the support, but the smoke canister's going to force him back. 30 seconds, and look at Bibu. He manages to get out, but Soldier will cut him down. 5 versus 3, 4 versus 3 as it's a bloodbath here in the final 4 seconds. There's an opportunity for Damali to get this diffuser down, but Wolves, they are cutting back across. 3 versus 2 effectively with 1 man down.
Yeah, indeed. Now 2 versus 2 though, because there was that down player encoded, finished off by Mowgli, got the plant down behind bar inside a church. It's a double stack for Dplus Kia. Mowgli to maybe just mow them down, and Damali gave his life away, made his presence known. Down to Woogie Man, Skeleton Key. It's not going to be good enough, and it's Wolves that are going to get 2 match points here off the back of that second retake now on Church Arsenal. They've done it twice now, where it was that last second rush from Dplus to get the plant down. Those are good signs, but ultimately the even better signs is Wolves have been able to overcome both times and get the retake.
Yeah, I mean, they did a good job of getting the diffuser down, but the problem was, you know, the retake was even more likely for Wolves this time than last time, because in that position there's no real verticality that you can use. You just had to sort of play inside a motor, and Mowgli took full advantage of that knowledge to be able to get those couple of kills that really turned the round, that being the second one, and it gave them everything that they needed. And Wolves now, they know that they're one round away from closing this up, getting themselves a big win against Dplus.
Yes, and another 2-0 as well to boot for Wolves after they were able to do just that against Team Bliss yesterday. It would give them their third series win as well, really setting up to try and take top spot of this group. Of course, they've still got to go and play against FaZe Clan. That's not going to be an easy ask, but FaZe have already shown this tournament, Tim, they are not quite, you know,
they're beatable.
Massive juggernaut. They are beatable. 6-4. This one's not over yet, but for Dplus here, it has really felt like, again, their impotent attack has come to fruition. That's been a struggle, but for Wolves, I think, again, their biggest strength so far this tournament has been their defense, and that's been on display here.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, you said it earlier, you know, you look at it and you think there is still problems there on the attack, you know. There is work that needs to be done, but they've got time to do that. And the fact that they're winning despite that tells you something else as well. You know, if they can get that sorted and start getting those few extra attacking rounds, you know, all teams are struggling a little bit on attack, but if Wolves can just get those few more, it could be a real difference maker in terms of how far into the tournament they go and how, you know, how realistic they are as contenders. But right now, I feel like they are pretty sharp, and they're looking like certainly, you know, one of the top 4 or 5 teams that we've had so far.
Yeah, and without being too negative in terms of an individual target, Damali, of course, was a big pickup from La Vega. I think a lot of people maybe overhyped the pickup. You got to think about Damali on his roster of La Vega. They couldn't even qual in terms of LCQs. They really bombed out in Stage 2, which was really disappointing. Of course, a really solid player that had shown things back in Copenhagen on La Vega, but alas, has struggled so far this Six Invitational. That step up in quality, maybe just something he hasn't quite been used to. Woogieman's been great. Obviously, Soldier as well, formerly from Talon, 10 and 7. But other than that, they're the only two really standing out for Dplus here.
Soldier does manage to get established quite quickly inside of Red Stairs, and CCTV going to open up the cash wall, make it difficult for Deadshot to stay inside of there. We've seen this Deadshot Mowgli combo a couple of times on Clubhouse where they'll try to cover each other off and help them stay in position, but Woogieman says, I'm not going to play into your little trap, I'm going to work from underneath, and the book will clear it out.
You're really nicely done from Woogieman, continuing a solid individual effort from him, 17 and 8. And Mowgli also now mowed down by Yas, and Dplus here have got themselves into a winning position. It's all about the capitalization of said position. In a 5 versus 3, 60 seconds left, which is actually a lot of time for Dplus here.
This could be the start of the fight back for Dplus. Bibu's just roaming around underneath in bar at the minute, but doesn't have Nitro in hand. But I think he's just trying to stop that vertical pressure from Woogieman, just give them something to think about, but Woogieman is just trying to hold that angle now, and it's going to be very difficult potentially for Bibu to return to site without winning a gunfight first.
40 seconds remaining, and a massive moment and a massive round for Dplus here to try and keep them alive inside of this series. Flash out from Woogieman from Kitchen up above. In terms of Gym Bedroom, Bibu is there. You got Shinka. Actually, I think Bibu might still be below. Can't quite see the outline. Either way, Woogieman does lose his life. Indeed, he was below for Bibu, who can now make his way up main stairs. Really good defensive pressure here for Wolves. 15 seconds. Time the big factor. Cody's going for the plant right inside of Bedroom. He is being watched. Plenty of players on the balcony, but the Nitro Cell from Shinka hits the mark. Beautifully placed. 4 seconds left. Damali just has to push straight onto it. He gets denied as well from Bibu. Wolves say goodnight to Dplus here.
What a finish from Wolves there. 3 versus 5 in that round. A well-placed Nitro from Shinka, just turning their fortunes on its head. And then Bibu using every ounce of their experience to look at the clock. 4 seconds left. We just need to stop this diffuser going down. Runs up to the bomb chassis, takes the risk, gets the kill. Well finished from Wolves, and what a defensive half. We kind of expected it from them on Clubhouse, and they delivered.
6 rounds in a row won by Wolves to close out Clubhouse after a 4-1 start from Dplus here. That was it. No more. Wolves then absolutely shut up shop defensively, and they locked out Dplus Kia from getting anything, despite good moments, despite rounds in which Dplus Kia, they got plans, they were very close in that last round. This was not a conventional, smashing, if you will, Tim. I think there were good signs for Dplus Kia, but good signs alone doesn't get you wins.
Yeah, they certainly had their moments. As you picked Woogieman out along the way. He had a great individual performance there. Picked up some really important kills and plenty of them. But like you say, those hero moments, those odd flashes here and there, do not win you games, especially not at this sort of level. And Wolves just coming away really dominant there. And I'm sure EU fans will be sat quietly confident in this Wolves team as they move on.
Yeah, I think Wolves have shown right now that they are a serious threat at this tournament, at this event. Of course, a long way to go. Things change here and there. And I also think there's probably a level to Wolves they can actually go a little bit higher.
Yeah, I think so.
If they can improve on their attacks, still some sloppy errors here and there. At times, maybe being a little bit individual dependent. I think in this case, Deadshot had a really good day one. Then it was, of course, Mowgli. Today, a little bit more of a spread, but still Deadshot at times was a big factor. But ultimately, I think for Wolves as well, they look like a really strong mental team. They take their timeouts really early. We saw that again, down 2-0. They said, hey, let's just chat about things. How are things going? What can we do to change things up? So they don't allow that to, be something they do too little too late. They're straight away onto the board. I'm really impressed by Wolves. Really impressed.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. They've certainly not reached the ceiling yet. And I'm sure there's going to be more to come from them. And they are a tantalizing prospect at the minute.
They certainly are tantalizing indeed. I think Wolves right now, very much top of the group. Obviously still a big opponent in phase later on to play. That'll be a very interesting game. Of course, 7-2, 7-4 in terms of Dplus Kia, and it further confides them probably to a match against Team Bliss later on in the tournament. Bliss playing actually later today against SSG. Yep. What a game that's going to be as well. But for Dplus Kia, it's looking more and more likely they're going to have to circle in that game against Team Bliss if they want to avoid getting grouped.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's going to be the decisive factor. Like I said, I'd be very surprised to see Bliss, no disrespect to them, but to get anything against SSG because they looked really good on day two. I know they had a slow start against Wolves, but SSG looked terrifying. We've got our map stats up there. We can see Deadshot top of the pops, 12-8, with 3-2 on entry as well. A good game from him once again. And Bibu getting involved in the action as well. A little bit quiet over the first day or so, but Bibu showing how he can lead the team.
Very significant performance from Woogieman, 17-9. Thought Soldier was also a really good performer. What's interesting thing for me, 3-0, 2-0 in terms of first kill. And if you actually go to the statistics in terms of first entry points for Dplus Kia, they're over 50%. There's a lot of teams that are kind of below that 50% threshold. They're just too slow in those first entry kills, and that's the issue. I would just love to see them pick up that pace just a little bit more. They're clearly okay, actually, when they do get into those positions. You can see the statistics, but just too slow. That leaves them with little time to convert a round win off of those kills.
They're just not giving themselves the opportunity. Like you say, you get to the end of a lot of rounds and think, oh, if they had another 20 seconds, they probably win that. They could do things slightly differently. And you can get that extra 20 seconds. It just means you've got to do things a little bit quicker at the beginning. You can't have it at the end. Dplus, there's definitely room for improvement there. I think that Bliss game is going to be a good one.
Let's go to the standings and see where things are at right now. Of course, Dplus grayed out, but that might not be permanently. Still lots to be changed throughout the week. But for Wolves, 11 points, looking very pretty on top of the Group B.
Yeah, it's they're through, aren't they? It's done now. I'd say mathematically, there's only one team goes out of these. Wolves are done. They're going to be moving on, which means again they can maybe just play with a little bit of freedom. It's now all down to seeding for Wolves. It's which position are they going to go through in? And I tell you what, they're looking awfully close. Depending on how games go, they're not a million miles away from securing at least a top 2 spot. With the way things have gone so far, winning 3 out of 4.
Definitely agree with that. Of course, Space Station Team Bliss to play later today. I'm not quite sure. I don't have the schedule in front of me in terms of phase claim. But nevertheless, though, of course, for Wolves now up to 11 points. The next best 5. And, well, there is the schedule, in fact. And, of course, that for Stream B, which is what we are on, it is indeed going to be Team Bliss and Space Station coming up after the break that we will eventually have. And it's a fascinating one. Obviously, I don't think many are going to give Team Bliss a chance. But they were very competitive against, obviously, a Wolves team that's doing quite well. 7-5 loss, 8-6 loss on those respective maps. But I will say, even despite the Oceanic bias, Space Station heavy favorites, and I very much see them probably taking that 2-0. The question for me will be the competitiveness of that 2-0.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, SSG, like I say, against Wolves, a little bit slow, a little bit shaky. Against FaZe, looked much better. Like, it looked very good, to be fair. Looked terrifyingly good. So I think, yeah, we need to see that SSG. So really, they're going to be looking for, you know, absolute dominance against Bliss. Quick game, get it done, and send a message, I think.
Usually, below, this little graphic here would say Desertu.
It would.
Thank you so much.
No, it's been
Obviously,
a pleasure.
Absolute pleasure. Had so much fun. We're going to go to a break, of course, when we come back for Stream B. It's Team Bliss. It's SSG.
Sending out RCE. Sending out RCE.